In the White House, President Eisenhower signs the proclamation that makes Alaska's entry into the Union official, nearly 92 years after Lincoln's Secretary of State bought the territory from the Russian Tsar for $7 billion.
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Barney Sports Chalet, supplying hunters with the best hand-selected gear since 1963. The exclusive home of frontier gear built for the rugged Alaskan terrain. Your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Visit Barney's today at 906 West Northern Lights.
Big Rays, the Alaskan outfitter, committed to outfitting Alaskans across the state since 1947. Whether you're a recreator, parent, guide, or corporate buyer, Big Rays has the gear you need, tailored for Alaska's harsh conditions. Check out their new exclusive line of Auralic waders. Big Rays for all your outdoor gear and rugged work attire. BigRays.com.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Total Truck and Alaska Overlander, Alaska's premier supplier for custom automotive accessories and overlanding products, providing all-inclusive rental vehicles and trailers custom outfitted to explore the Alaskan backcountry with a unique and convenient traveling experience.
The TreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives. AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska, built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation, with exclusive products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more. Ask your local bud tender about AKO. Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Lawn Pro AK, Alaska's year-round professional property maintenance team. Services include weekly lawn care, custom landscaping, fertilizing, weed control, turf repair, and more. Schedule your free estimate at lawnproak.com.
Alaska's OG cider company, Double Shovel, crafting gluten-free colonial-style ciders founded as a healthier, non-inflammatory brew option. Drop by their Pop and Tap room in Anchorage off of 58th and Arctic or visit the second location in Kodiak. Double Shovel, award-winning ciders.
The Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. BHA is the voice of our Alaskan public lands, waters, and wildlife. Their goal is to uphold our hunting and fishing legacy while keeping our public lands wild. Stand up today and join BHA at backcountryhunters.org.
Alaska Mining and Diving Supply, located in Anchorage, is our go-to for powder sleds and utility rigs. Whether you're in the mountains with the flat bill bros, running trap lines, or hauling freight, they have the selection to get you dialed from peaks to the valleys. Find them on Commercial Drive or akmining.com.
Damn, these always splatter all over my computer.
I haven't been able to stop telling people about that one with the whale movie.
Oh, I know. Isn't it like the connection that you make with it?
It was so good, dude. Man, like I had to rewatch it after.
Oh, you did?
After we recorded on Wednesday with Pete. Yeah, I'm so pumped. I got like everyone stoked for watching it after on the day after Earth Day when it comes out on PBS, and we'll like maybe do like a little screening at my house or something with like the family and stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, for people that want to find it, you can go to Alaska Public Media. They're going to have it on their page, their YouTube, and also PBS. I think PBS has a streaming thing too, but the majority of their stuff is free all across the state. But I think you have to have like regular cable for that.
To watch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can go there online and watch it on there too, because I know I don't have cable. You don't have cable. No. Nobody has cable anymore.
Yeah, they do have a PBS has a streaming app. I looked it up real quick here. They do have that.
The PBS?
PBS has a streaming app, and then you can definitely, I mean, for most of us have smart TVs or Roku sticks or whatever.
Does Alaska Public Media have a?
Yes, they did hit me up about it. They have it's going to be on their streaming stuff too. They have their own,
and we'll
on their website.
We'll post that on.
Yeah,
social media
and the PBS app is free. So you can, you can download it. You can download it and then watch One with the Whale free.
Oh,
you don't have to
awesome.
Hulu, Amazon. You don't have to buy nothing.
Okay, cool.
If you don't have a subscription or whatever, even if you want to download it just to watch it and then delete the app,
Yeah.
At least it's free. You're not paying a subscription.
Yeah.
fee.
So
Casey, exactly what I was gonna do. But I didn't know I got it for free. I was like, no, I'm not buying another one.
Yeah. Well, you always get those like trials, and then you better remember to delete the shit because it's going to bill you again.
Yep.
Because classic, we people do that, but
so Tuesday, April 23rd is the release,
which it'll
be after
this show.
Yeah.
If anybody's hearing that on the show, it'll already be out. So be sure to check it out. It's a beautiful film, well produced. Amazing human beings involved. Everybody that was involved, especially the locals in Gamble there. That was, man. That was felt like a legit spiritual connection to that whole thing. That might be a little extreme sounding, but you watch it and you start feeling your heart and the tears well up. You'll know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, there's a big connection between people, no matter what lifestyle they have, no matter what culture, and they were able to bring that human factor, that relatability, which is awesome. Because
we had such a cool opportunity after the show to go have dinner with Pete after, and it's we weren't planning it, but to sit down with the guy and just have some awesome bro talk off the mic, and
seriously rad guy.
Yeah, totally.
And apologies to whoever he was going to meet at the Alaska Whaling Commission.
Oh yeah,
he had a dinner plan, and we kept him over time, and he missed it and had to go eat at a lesser venue.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, from Ginger to Peanut Farm. Right?
He didn't seem to mind it.
Yeah. How was that Sheep University this morning?
Oh, it was cool, man. I didn't know if I was going to make it. I got to go watch Jim Burnsworth. It was, I think the clinic was specific to archery, sheep and goat, was what it was kind of specified to. However, Jim admittedly
specifically
was specified.
Spore.
Did I say it twice?
Yeah.
Oh, sometimes I just don't even
specific.
catch. Yeah, incredibly specific.
Specifically specific.
Yeah, Jim. He was like, I got ADD, so I'm going to be all over the place, the extra Ds. And so he didn't get, I don't know that he necessarily hit all of his bullet points. And I think with the engineering mind, and you start geeking out on archery and arrows and flight direction and cambers and the things that all go into archery, which was way over my head at times. I did, however, get some really good information, some basic archery stuff, which I'm at that level.
Yeah,
I'm super novice, right? He said, "Who hunts with a bow?" And I'm like,
kinda.
I mean,
half right.
I kind of went once with one, and I thought I might shoot something with it, but I ended up shooting it with my rifle. So technically, I haven't done anything with it yet. Yeah, he's got 78 bull elk and 100 mule deer. I mean, the guy's just
a beast.
Killed a million things. And anyway, it was great. Got to see Kevin Kehoe, Lou Bradley. They were all there. Lou's selling books, and
nice.
Got to chat with Kevin a little bit, and it was just cool. Kind of got me pumped up for the venue tonight.
Yeah,
Alaska Wild Sheep Foundation banquet is tonight. This is being recorded. We're on the 13th, April 13th.
Yeah.
So I just kind of got my juices flowing. I had a rough end of my night last year and didn't feel well and had to leave early. So I'm healthy and excited and going to stick through the whole night this venue. So
and for people wondering who Jim Burnsworth, who we're talking about,
Burnsworth,
mm-hmm. No S, okay, Burnsworth. He used to have probably one of the more popular shows back when people used to have cable, the Outdoor Channel, right up there with Jim Shockey, and his show was Western Extreme.
Correct.
So probably one of the top 5 hunting shows before Netflix and all this other stuff came out.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be a wealth of knowledge. We are going to have him on the show. Hopefully he's going to come in tomorrow and have him on, so we'll get some more info out of him.
Yeah, for sure. Got a chance to shake his hand and beat him today, and he confirmed he's going to be ready for us tomorrow.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Perfect.
Was there any hot tips? Do you have like one hot tip from that session?
Yeah. One was like really cool. I won't make it long-winded. It was to go to like Home Depot or Lowe's and get the box, the nails with like the big blue circle on it, and to like start at 10 yards and then draw back and just hold your pin, your top pin or whatever, on that as long as you can until you're like out of gas, and to do that.
Face, yeah.
Yep. And then do that for like a week.
All right.
Do that repeatedly every day for about a week. And then go get a laser pointer, cheap laser pointer anywhere, duct tape that to your bow the next week. And then you'll notice that, boom, that laser pointer is going to be on your sight or on your target without even, thinking about it, because you've got the repetitions in.
Right. Okay.
Right. And so that was just a very simple way to, maybe you've got some injury that you're rehabbing, or you did something that changed, as we all know with archery, it's all repetitive, right? Like golf, you want to do that same, or bowling, you want to do that same kind of thing over and over. And that was just a like cheap, easy peasy way to like basically
be consistent.
with your sight. So that was probably one of the big ones that just anybody can do. And I never thought about that. And I'm definitely going to give it a shot and try to help. I mean, I've got so many other things that I'm working through mechanically, and I could seriously use some coaching. I wish I could go down and just hang out with him for 2 or 3 weeks and just leave there the best archer I could be maybe one day. But that was a kind of a cool basic thing.
That's awesome.
That I learned. So.
How's the turnout? Fair to Midland?
Yeah, I'd say maybe like 35 people were in there. What was really cool is there was a lot of women in there.
Awesome.
And they were asking the most questions. And there was a group of gals there, 3 gals that were sitting together. And one of them asked Jim what he used for broadheads. And he didn't quite answer that question clearly. So I don't know if that was some top secret
was
shit
he
or
talking about like fixed versus mechanical?
Yeah, well, he alluded to being very honest about his dislike for Rage mechanical broadheads and the way they've expanded and kind of sold out and the whole thing. And anyway, he was just talking about how, the mechanics of the blade and the way they, when you shoot and then they open and they flutter. So the way they like slice versus cut an animal open, and the way it creates inconsistent wound channels. So it creates this big ass hole in the front, but doesn't actually generate the wound channel to properly really kill the animal in terms of, hitting lungs or vitals or whatever. And then where it blasts out and just blows hides all to hell. And so anyway, he was, pro anti-fixed, or I'm sorry, mechanical broadheads. And the gal was referring to her experiences with antelope, and antelope, I guess, are pretty soft animals. Never shot one, but according to her, she's from Wyoming or something. And so anyway, she's now gone to fixed, as she's now hunting caribou, moose and stuff in Alaska. But I found it really cool. These gals were very knowledgeable on archery and had killed animals. And so I'm like, oh, damn, you know, like when they rose their hand and said they hunt with a fucking bow, they actually do it. Yeah.
So is the theory that you want to use a fixed blade on a tougher animal, something that you want to penetrate more with less of a possible, not mistake, but mechanical error?
Yeah, one of 2 things that were brought to my attention was that a mechanical broadhead allows you for more speed and accuracy from a distance.
Okay.
Versus a fixed, where it's like,
because there's less resistance maybe coming through.
Slicing through, because once it hits the target, it expands. Now the blade's open, versus fixed is just more material just flying through the air, more restriction, right?
Gotcha.
On that one also, the big issue is like, does the fixed track your field points? And a lot of times the fixed don't.
Correct.
And so, then you got,
that was a point he made. Yeah,
it's a big deal, where like the mechanicals seem to be truer more often to your field points. But.
Now, like I got that part. Me personally, with very little experience, I was suggested to use fixed. I use the Annihilators. If you've seen the Annihilators, they're a nasty, 3-bladed. I mean, they absolutely, I've seen one animal shot with it, and it blew the living shit out of the backside of that black bear. And it left a hole in that critter like that. Yeah. I mean, it absolutely blows a wound channel I mean, damn near as big as an orange.
Wow.
So it's truly doing its job. You know what I mean? Waste a little bit of meat can damage hide, but if you're shooting a big game animal such as like a brown bear, black bear, or moose or something like that, I feel like that was a pretty good move. And obviously, I'm not going to be a guy at my skill level who's shooting 70, 80, or 100 yards. I mean, Jim's talking about shooting goats at 131 yards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like effectively. And I'm
That's
like, whoa.
insane,
I mean, once
dude.
he's talking about that, I'm like, wow, dude, this is
Yeah.
crazy. And he's shooting fixed. But
He's
anyway,
teared up, dude.
Oh, man. I mean, his geek level is, like I said, I mean, my eyes started going cross when he started talking about arrows and cutting and shafts and wrapping carbon and all. I'm like, whoa, dude. Like,
You do archery, Casey?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
What
quite
do
a
you
bit.
prefer as far as fixed or mechanical?
Well, I was just thinking about it. Some of the certain broadheads you're not allowed to use for certain game species here in Alaska.
oh, really?
I didn't
Yeah.
know that. That's
Yeah, like brown bear, I'm pretty sure that you are not allowed to use any sort of mechanical broadhead.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Do they say it's an advantage or something?
No, I think it's a disadvantage, like as far as like getting it to do what you want it to do.
Okay,
As
gotcha.
far as
Potential
permanent
for
cavity
failure or
is
something?
the term that I've always used for damage inflicted to an animal.
What was that term again?
Permanent cavity.
Okay.
So it's in the shooting sniping world that you want to make sure that you're inflicting damage. And you want to leave a permanent cavity, a hole for things to bleed into. If it cuts through like an ice pick and it just seals right up, things don't die quickly. So you want to,
Gotcha.
it's more effective to punch a bigger hole that it
Drains.
It drains it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Got
then,
it.
and then it's done quick.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know. I didn't know there was rules on that.
Yeah. We'll have to look those up so we
But yeah, I would look into that before you.
go after a brown bear.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes
1000%.
sense. Like, I think about those Annihilator broadheads. Like, that's what I would shoot a brown bear with. Mm-hmm. After what I saw it did to a black bear, I'm like, whoa. Like, that thing
You know, I wondered
will
about.
damage.
I've never been on a hunt where someone actually got something with a bow, whether mechanical or broadhead. But I would imagine if it doesn't go all the way through and it's just like sticking in there, like when you're gonna clean it up, man, you gotta be ultra careful, right?
You do. I've seen it a couple of times, and that has gone poorly. Usually, like if it's stuck halfway in and the animal runs a little bit, it's just
Gonna snap it off.
They'll break it off on a tree or a branch or something. Will grab it and pop the arrow. But inside, the broadhead is just doing work.
You're right.
But I have seen it in deer before where they were shot poorly. And I've seen animals heal over entirely. One of them was shot through the nose. It was a bad shot. And I thought it was a nail, like sticking out of the side of the deer's nose. I was like, he acted like he couldn't smell. And then we kind of went over and started picking at it. And it was the tip of a broadhead. It had completely healed.
Wow.
Completely healed over. It was just the tiniest little tip. It looked like the tip of a nail.
Right, and the shaft had broken off
Yep,
on the other
everything
side.
else was gone.
Yeah. Wow, that's insane.
And he matured. Yeah, like he was full grown. It didn't seem to other than the fact that he couldn't smell anything, which led to his demise.
Right.
But other than that, he led a full life.
What
I
a
think.
resilient creature.
Yeah, and they heal constantly like that. Even from gunshot wounds, I see animals sometimes that will, like, you ever see a buck that's like kind of doesn't fully form on one side? Check him, because if he's not formed on one side, a lot of times it's because he's had an injury somewhere on his body. So it'll be a lot larger on one side,
Gotcha.
and kind of
Yeah,
deformed on the other. Check that side.
Right.
That could be an injury from a fight or
From anything or
right?
gunshot or
sickness,
or sickness or whatever.
Yeah.
Fall.
That's a good point.
Is the goal for the arrow to go all the way through?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
now, what if
bleeds
it's
out
not
from
all the way
both.
through and it's laying there and it's just sticking out? You want to pull that thing out before you start cutting it, or do you leave it in there? I would think if it's in there and it's in that main like organ cavity and you're gonna have to get in there to clean it out, it's pretty dangerous.
Yeah. I would try to pull it out first.
Yeah, I usually do. I usually
Pull it out or
remove
push it
them.
through?
Either
Pull it
way,
out.
if
Whatever
it's
you can.
most of the way through, then I'll push it through.
Okay.
If it's
Get it out of the
if
way.
it's exactly, because you know, I mean,
stick your hand in there and slice your hand up or something.
Oh man.
Especially, I've done that field dressing before, just with my own knife. So now you're complicating the situation.
Oh, totally.
There's an extra razor blade in there somewhere.
It doesn't have like a big piece of orange surveyor tape on it.
Yeah.
Like all of my knives do. That wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's always a good move.
How's the weather down there in Kodiak?
Sporadic at the moment.
Yeah.
The other day on Raspberry, I was really annoyed because it would snow 15 minutes and then be sunshine 15 minutes. And then snow 15 minutes and sunshine 15 minutes. And I was like, come on, man.
That's how it's been here. It seems like it just doesn't want to make up its mind.
Yeah. One day it's bluebird. The next 3 it's snowing still.
Yeah. So I think everyone's just over it.
I think it snowed every day this week, but none of it stuck. So I'm not sure if we broke the record.
Because it's got to stick, right?
Right. So we were only 3 inches away on, when was that? Sunday? And it snowed all day, 3 days, but nothing stuck.
Oh, wow.
So,
Yeah.
Where do they officially take the measurements
I think
at?
it's at the weather station at the airport.
Okay.
I believe.
Because we would definitely hit the record if you did it up at like Hilltop or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because it's been dumping up there all week. And
Right.
I've been watching people come down with their cars with 2, 3, 4 inches of snow every single day.
Right.
And it's so annoying to watch. I'm like,
Come on, Blue.
give it a rest, man.
dude.
Kodiak hasn't been that bad this year for snow. I feel like it's been a fairly mild winter.
Really?
Yeah, which I'm excited for because
Good for
that
the
means, the deer population, that's going to help them.
Right.
I've only found in all of the areas that I've walked here lately, I've only found one winter kill.
Nice.
And that was in front of one of our cabins. So, I mean, maybe it's just I'm lucky in the area that we're at, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be a productive year.
Awesome.
I really do.
Relative to a bad winter, like what would you find in kills just walking around?
Quite a few.
Okay.
Yeah, you
so
find
it's a good sign.
Yeah, it's a really good sign.
Okay.
And grouped up usually, right? When you find one.
Oh,
Yeah,
grouped
you-
up ones?
You'll
Oh,
find one.
they've been huddling and...
Yeah, it's weird how they work. Deer seem to, kind of congregate loosely. Like they want to be close to each other, but not too close, depending on the age and the sex and all of that sort of thing. But, like as soon as the winter hits, as soon as the snow starts at the top of the mountain, you can just watch them. They'll start pushing down.
Right.
Down, down, down. And then, come January, December, really first week of December is where I start seeing them low
Right.
a lot. Last week of November after the first snow, they'll run to the beach, check it out, and then go halfway up. And then you get a good snow, and then they're
Pushing it right on the beach.
They're everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that all like the mass kills, I haven't seen a ton that we found have all been in these like low areas, really close to where the food source would be on the water. So it's like they have like some cover really close to, the bay beach. And then they kind of like congregate in there, and you walk into that and you find on these horrible winters, and you find, multiple, up to like dozens.
Carcasses laying around.
Winter kills.
Well, out at Big Timber, we're surrounded by big timber. So
Yeah.
it's a great place for them to come down and congregate and, get some shelter. And then we get a lot of seaweed on the beach, and they're always down there. I think we killed 5 in less than 8 hours.
All right.
This past winter, within a mile of the lodge, pretty much.
Nice. And just drag them, and you got a place to hang them there.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep. Everything, we go and get them. Usually scoop them up by boat because they're right on the beaches. And then bring
Run a
them back
skiff
to the
around.
lodge. and-
Yeah. Man, that's so nice to be able to hang your animal and have such a clean butcher job.
Totally.
It is.
I don't like doing it that way.
It's kind
It
of
doesn't
awkward.
feel right.
Yeah.
Nah, man, it's weird.
Just pulling the skin down or the fur
Just
down?
in general, when you hang it up and you do it that way, like you're so used to doing it when it's laying down on the
One
ground.
side at a time.
And you do that, like when we went on the boat, one of the times, and it's
Yeah.
hanging, it's just like, this thing's spinning, and it's
Oh,
just like,
Yeah.
everything's just kind of backwards.
Yeah,
I don't
we,
know.
we learned a lot after that trip. John Lau sat us down. We're like, no, you guys are doing it wrong. And we were tying both legs to the same spot, and you got to really separate them out.
Oh, so it's not gonna
wide.
spin on you.
Yeah, and then it doesn't spin.
which will make it spin. So the best way in the world to do it, and you don't have to have a metal gambrel to be able to do it. Any rod, any stick that is roughly an inch around that will fit between the Achilles.
Yeah. Okay.
And
we're talking hanging them upside down, right?
Yeah.
From the
Back
rear.
legs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm proficient at doing it both ways, but we used to kill a lot of deer when I was growing up. I grew up whitetail hunting on the East Coast before I came up to Alaska, and we would harvest 15, 20 deer a day sometimes. So it was the young boys that had to go in and
Butcher 'em up.
and butcher.
dirty work,
That's
The
right.
older fellows were kind of hanging back. They're like, "My job's done. You get in there, young man. Learn how to do this."
They're cracking caribou calls.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so, so we would. So we got pretty quick at being able to process them. I prefer to hang them if possible because it does keep your meat a lot cleaner.
Oh, for sure.
Sure, off the ground, yeah.
And then once you get in, then you can kind of see your cuts. And, you can do it a bunch of different ways. You can quarter it out right there. They're all gone.
Right.
You can also, like if you can bone it out straight hanging and then peel your cuts off just right there.
As
and then
you
you're
go.
leaving, you're done with bones.
Right.
And, especially here where, you're supposed to salvage all salvageable meat.
Right.
Right. And this is a way that you get it done the right way.
Yep.
Ribs, at the whole deal.
Yep.
Stem to stern.
Yeah.
And it's cleaner and kind of easier on your back too. Cause you ever,
It's way easier, dude.
and then the larger the animal, or maybe you got a couple down, and then you're like, it starts to wear on you after a while.
Yeah.
Totally.
And getting the fur off is so much easier with just the pulling down.
Well,
that's amazing compared to like skinning a moose.
yeah.
just-
Oh yeah. Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
I think, and then and then once the fur's off, then it's cleaner.
Yeah.
Like not even just the dirt wise, it's hair. Like you're trying to pick hair out of your meat. Later on, it gets kind of annoying.
Oh, dude, big time. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually, I taught that. We do a food preparation class.
Oh, okay.
That is that exact thing. We purchase it's not a wild game animal. Like we prefer those if we can get them, but we'll purchase a goat or a sheep, and we'll go through actually the whole process from a four-legged creature to we'll purchase a chicken and then break that down, and then we do a fish. And so like in the survival school classes, we actually take people who maybe you've never done it before,
Right.
Or if you've done it before, maybe you're just going to learn something new, a different way that you didn't see before.
Yeah.
And so we'll actually go through stem to stern on each one of those things with our longer courses, just to make sure, hey, and there's a lot of fears too that people have about things that are not necessarily important, right? It's like,
They're hyper focused on something irrelevant.
Exactly. So if you got, urine, like if you were cutting a bladder out and a little urine leaked out on a piece of your meat, and you're like, that meat's dead. No, actually, that's not that big a deal. That will wash off.
It's flavor.
Yeah, not exactly.
Put some vinegar on that real quick.
A little marinade.
Fecal matter.
Yeah.
That can be a little bit depending on how long it was on there. But if you're cleaning a deer and a couple little turds fall out, par for the course, baby.
Totally.
Shit happens, boys.
But folks don't know a lot.
Okay. So they think it's real.
They don't know what to be comfortable with.
And I mean, I kind of go on a soapbox on this stuff for a while, but we very much live in what I would consider to be sort of a synthetic society where we don't have, the majority of people, like we in this room, yes, and a lot of the people that are probably listening have a relationship with the land, with the food, where it comes from. That's Alaskans in general. It's one of the reasons why I love this place. But in the lower 48, and folks that come up, they don't always have that relationship with their food. They don't know where it comes from. And, you know, like you go to the store and chickens come in a package with cellophane on them, with styrofoam in the bottom, and they, like, it comes perfect every time. It's ready to go in the fryer.
Well, on that note, though, the Costco whole roasted chicken, I think is a great practice.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
But that breakdown?
Yeah.
You know, folks don't just, they
no
don't.
fecal matter in there, though.
Yeah.
No. Hopefully not.
Yeah, true.
They don't see it go from, you know, like walking and clucking to dispatched to then plucked and then broken down, you know.
Yeah, packaged and then pulled out.
Exactly. And then like a lot of folks don't have that relationship with their food anymore.
Right.
Like they
should be in
lose it.
school. Should be in elementary school.
I totally support that.
Yeah.
And they've been doing that here, which is big kudos to some of the valley schools and some other schools where they would bring in a moose, a roadkill moose, and actually have a science class and show all the kids on how to do it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
we were trying to get the
awesome.
teacher on here. I don't know what happened with it, but I think that should be part of
Absolutely.
Elementary school. Maybe middle school.
Yeah, middle school probably.
Education.
Yeah.
You know,
That and
small
the
game,
subsistence days.
and then like a part of the home ec.
Yeah.
You know, where they do the 4 different things. You know,
Right.
Sure, you can learn how to bake a cake too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you should learn how to break down.
That's right.
A bird.
Yeah, and
you know?
fillet of fish.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Great.
Oh, yeah, that should be 101.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. That's awesome.
Yeah, so there's been a couple that have done it. I haven't seen any in Anchorage. I saw that one in the Valley did it. I want to say one was sold out in our Sterling. But just takes a teacher to step up and get the AOK, you know.
Casey's going to help Kodiak do it, right?
Yeah, well, I actually do quite a bit of that.
Oh, really?
I haven't done the there's an added cost to you know, the food preparation clinic. You know, it's good because we have to purchase those things. But
Right.
for we do a lot of pro bono stuff with Dig a Fognac is one of them, which is the Fognac Native Village, brings kids out. We do I've helped out for several years in a row with Survivors Camp and the Skills Camp and doing different things along those lines. And then we've done a bunch of stuff with the Civil Air Patrol. Those kids as well, and then Camp Woody has done some stuff over there. So kids in Kodiak get more opportunities a lot of times to you know, reach out for that sort of thing.
That's awesome.
But
That is cool.
we do that.
Seems very appropriate on Kodiak Island, too.
Yeah, it is.
I guess it should definitely be happening there. And I had a thought on the educational side, like even say down in the lower 48 or in a synthetic society type situation, sterile, steady environment, you could still build videos and kids could watch them on their laptops in a class, even if it's
This is
not
true.
physically, like, you know, they're putting their hands on the moose carcass and like skinning, which is ideal. That is a real experience in itself. Exercising primal instinct and touching and smelling blood and the iron and the thing, but to at least let them watch a video, they can at least go, well, I'm uncomfortable, and maybe they need a permission slip or whatever, but it's like sex ed, right? Like maybe the first time some kids watch that, they're like, whoa, man, like my parents didn't let me watch it. I ain't even ready for this shit. But very similar to that, like they might not be ready to see a dead animals with skin open and flesh, but I think it's something they need to see.
Yeah.
It is, and
You don't have to do it, but you need to know about it.
it kind of leads right into why I started Kodiak Survival. So I was teaching. I taught over my career. I was in the SEAL teams for 21 years, and I taught as an instructor in Kodiak to young upcoming SEALs, and they had just showed up to our courses. And the course that I taught was SEER, Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape, except for I didn't teach the resistance and escape portion. I just taught survival and evasion. And I found it exceptionally rewarding, but one of I kind of grew up in in that realm anyway. My father was a state game warden, so I was always in the woods. And when I wasn't with him, I was with my grandfather, who was always in the woods. So I just kind of learned this from, I mean, I thought it was what everyone did.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know any different. And then when I got to be an instructor for the SEAL teams, I would take a poll on the guys that were coming into the class. And I would say, hey, gentlemen, how many of you have hunted or fished in your life? And, even 10, 12 years ago, I would see a third of the hands go up, and that was it for I may have anywhere from 20 to 60 guys at one point. And you have to think about who these guys are, right? They are the 1% of the Navy, like the top 1%. Like these guys signed up to do hard things and go in the field and do, man things.
Right.
Hardcore shit.
Yeah. And so
Spartan
and a third of the hands go up. And then I would ask another question. I was like, how many of you, before you came in the Navy, had spent the night in the field, like in a tent? How many of you have been camping? And about the same amount of hands would go up.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden I'm alarmed because I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, right? So what I did for the Navy at the time was I was teaching, you can come from anywhere.
Whatever your background is.
It does not matter who you are. It's like if you get yourself into the military and you raise your hand to go volunteer and you say, I want to be a U.S. Navy SEAL, you can do it. So long as you can pass the standards, you can do it. So you could be from East LA, downtown Miami. We don't care.
Yeah.
It does not matter. But once you get in, somebody has to teach you these things that you may not have learned.
Right.
And that was me.
Yeah.
So I got to be the first exposure for those guys. But it started to pull at my senses too, because I'm like, oh man, if these dudes don't know, how many of the rest of the population doesn't know these things?
Right.
And these are the small few that are searching it out.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know.
They were physically
Exactly.
able to get to this point.
The quest for adventure.
And I wanted those. I poured my heart and soul into teaching those guys as much as I possibly could. And then, I thought about it, and I was like, man, I need to relay this to my family. So I started doing it for my family.
Yeah.
And then I started picking up more and more on the outside. And so even when we started doing fishing charters and other things like that, we try and bring an educational thing to it. It's like when we go out fishing, I don't just take somebody, you're not the guy on the reel. I'm like, no man, this is where we are. This is where we're going to fish. And this is why. And this is what the depths are. And, so they understand.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not just getting everything handed to them. They're actually learning
100%.
and could
Not just a
redo it
harvest.
themselves if they paid attention.
Yeah, and we have more than one people that get on the boat that are like, oh, well, I guess we'll take it all to the processor. And I'm like, yep, that's fine. And they're like, I wouldn't even know what to do with all of these. I'm like, do you know how? And they're like, no. I was like, would you show me?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
love
We
to.
stop the boat, we get over, and and we'll do a lesson right there on cleaning fish on the back of the boat.
Yeah.
And it's that part of it. There was a lot of the career in the SEAL teams that was not nice. It was like ruining people's day. And if you're not actively ruining someone's day, then you are practicing
Yeah.
to make them have the worst day of their life.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, thicken their skin, right? I mean, that's part of the training.
But no, I mean like the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like you guys,
Yeah.
the good guys are trying to practice
got
to
it.
ruin someone's
Gotcha.
day.
Gotcha. Okay.
But then, after a while,
I was just thinking scenes of American Sniper when he's training.
Yeah.
And they're in the cold water, and he's.
well, it is.
I was thinking
I mean,
that seems like a pretty fucked up day.
yes, it is. It's not fun, but the juxtaposed to that is now I don't get to ruin people's day. Like if you go away and you've had a bad day with me, like I've done something completely wrong.
Yeah.
I want you to go away with all smiles.
Yeah,
You want to come back.
Great day. Tell everybody good things about me.
You know, like some people hear, you know, what I did in my previous career, and they're like, I don't know if I want to go with this guy. But it's not like that at all.
Yeah.
It's like we want to make you happy.
Yeah.
You know, we want you to have a good time.
That's pretty cool that you offer that kind of stuff, because I was just imagining like all the charters I've ever been in my life, and you know, the guys just sitting in the back, and it's like, how many of those people actually want to learn and help, you know?
Absolutely. And you know, my insurance company, please don't be listening, but at the same time, you know, like everybody signs a waiver, and we told them what we were going to do. We were, you know, and it doesn't matter whether you're at Big Timber or whether you're at Kodiak Survival, you know, either side of the business, we're going to teach you.
Yeah.
And we want you to get involved in the process. We want you to think through the process. And you don't, even if you're a person that doesn't want to put your hands in there, just knowing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much to that.
Yeah.
So much to that.
I always found one of the most important parts of a charter experience, or going out on a paid charter as a customer or client, I guess you could call it, was the first part. You jump on the boat, and the captain, good charters, good captains, good staff, they come out and they give you a rundown on the safety of the boat and the process.
Yeah.
And I notice if you go on some charters, like, all right, man, this is like the 300th one I've done this season. Blah, 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 blah. He's just repeating himself, like assuming no one's listening. But then you got some guys that are really engaged, like, hey, if I fall overboard, I have a goddamn heart attack, or something happens to my guys, and I can't operate this boat. Like, somebody on this boat needs to pay attention to this.
Well, that's
God forbid, you got to take the helm or something.
1,000%. Like,
You know, or pull somebody out of the water, whatever it is.
there are rules written on the inside of my boat. I wish I had a picture of them for you, but I don't.
Yeah.
But we go through the rules on the boat. There's 10 of them, and it starts with don't hurt me.
Yeah.
No bananas.
No. Rule number 2 is don't hurt you.
Okay.
Rule number 3 is have fun, so long as you don't violate rule number 1 or number 2.
Yeah. All right.
So we go through all the rules. No negative vibes is another one. Like, no poopy pants. You can't be poopy pants on the boat. That's okay. You lost that fish.
Yeah.
We're gonna get you another one.
Yeah.
But we do that. Like, I point out exactly where the fire extinguishers are, where the flares are, where the life jackets are. I want you to know that.
Yep.
And not only that, but I would reach up and I tell people how to use the radio.
Yep.
Because, you know, we're it. Nobody's coming.
Yeah.
We have to affect our own survival.
Yep.
And if something happens to me and I'm the man with the secret, I'm wrong.
Yep.
Right? I have to share that knowledge with the people on the boat. So, and plus, I mean, how much more comfortable did you feel after that guy?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, you know, I mean, motor blows up and there's a fire in the boat. At least, does anybody know where the fire extinguisher is? Basic 101 stuff. But you're right.
Exactly.
There's a sense of like, okay, this just made this experience that much more fun because the safety, the captain feels the importance of making sure clients are safe. Now I feel better about being on this boat.
That's
Totally.
Yeah.
You know?
Now,
I always thought that was important.
I totally agree with you, as you should. And it's the same. You know, I see some missteps. Some from time to time, people think they know things that they don't. You know, but practice is so critically important.
Yeah.
You know,
Training.
Training. Yeah. I mean, it was just like what you were talking about earlier with the bow. You know, you were talking about, in my terms, I would call that sight picture sight alignment. And
that was the right term. Yeah, that was what he used actually.
And then, so, you know, sight picture sight alignment, and then repetition. We would do it, like SEAL teams, we did that with firearms constantly. And then it becomes muscle memory. Sight picture sight alignment, it needs to come out the same way.
You stop thinking about it and you just do it.
Right. And so when it becomes stressful, then your muscle memory is already built.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not, you know, like, oh, that sheep I've been looking for this whole time. There he is. Oh my God.
Your adrenaline's pumping, you're out of breath.
Yes.
Like all those things are going to affect your mechanics to shoot, but if your muscle memory's there, all that's
one less thing to think about.
Yeah.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We would do that, and we would run in yard lines in sniper school. We would get up.
Yard lines?
Yard lines.
What's
so
that mean?
basically, you most of our weapons at the time were 100-yard zeroed, right?
Okay.
And so we would move back and shoot every 100 yards all the way out 1,700, 1,800 yards, depending on the platform of the weapon system. And so then in order to practice, we would run those yard lines. So instead of doing it, like you've got your zero for all of those, your dope is really good all the way out. And so then we'd start doing races where you're running to the next yard line, get down, shoot, right? And then you got to go back and then run 2 yard lines back, 200 yards back, and then sit down, shoot, and then all of that's graded. So, that when later on, you're not just worried about killing the bad guy. You're worried about making sure that you don't hurt your guys.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when your heartbeat is going, at your max.
Yeah. Fully stressed.
You're trying to calm yourself down, and then you can make that shot under pressure.
Mm-hmm. Safely. Not,
Right.
And the same thing,
compromising.
it translates straight into the hunting world. Like if you take some of the lessons that we did there, and then go and apply that to hunting and fishing, I mean, it works.
Yeah.
It works. We did it for a reason.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I had a quick question before we go on the break. With the big timber, how's the spruce beetle in Kodiak? Has it affected?
Oh, it's a
not
really good
nearly like
question.
it is here. I mean, we have right around our lodge, we've got huge old growth, big fat mother trees.
Okay.
And they're gorgeous. And I don't see a lot of spruce beetle damage. And I pray that will not come to be.
Those
a
are
thing.
Sitka spruce? Or do the spruce beetles kill Sitka spruce too? I assume they do. I just in the regions.
Yeah, she said yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the regions that I've been to, I just haven't seen that.
Yeah.
But
Just wondered
very
if it
limited.
being an island,
Yeah.
Man,
How's that
there's
work?
some advantages to being an island.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of logging and stuff, and things can get transported.
Yeah, I guess you're
mistakenly,
right.
Equipment or something like that.
A Fognac island has been logged considerably. There's more roads on a Fognac than there is in Kodiak by a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
hundreds of miles of roads.
I had no idea.
I've seen
if
videos
you've-
of tractor trailers like running.
Yeah, well, we had Emily on about her Fognac. She had some videos of those logging roads.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
That was their
running
strategy.
You see it from the air, and on a clear day, you're like, oh. And I'm always left with the same thing. It's the same thing when I fly into a city anywhere. I'm amazed at what man can do.
Yeah.
I know how rugged that terrain is.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
And then they put roads all over it. I'm like,
hard. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Bazillion 1,000-pound tractor trailer trucks can run.
Yeah.
50 miles an hour on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
We'll be right back. Take a quick break.
Yep.
Barney's Sports Chalet, supplying hunters and outdoor enthusiasts with the highest quality gear and equipment since they opened their doors in 1963. Barney's carries exclusive brands such as Alpaca Rafts, Sitka, Sims, Exo Mountain Gear, Hilleberg, and much more. Barney's prides themselves with keeping a huge stock on hand of various top-of-the-line tents, footwear, sleeping bags, optics, cross-country skis, just to name a few. Barney's is also the exclusive retailer of Montana Knives, Seek Outside, Kafaru, Stone Glacier, and their in-house brand, Frontier Gear of Alaska. Barney's has a superior selection of top-rated boots, sleeping bags, dry bags, mountaineering gear, electronics, and accessories. Need freeze-dried food or mountain snacks? They got that too. Barney's now has an amazing new paperback catalog available for in-store pickup or online order. Visit them today at barneysports.com, or even better, stop by the store in Anchorage at 906 West Northern Lights. If you want the best, there's only one name in the game, Barney's Sports Chalet.
Alaska Mining and Diving Supply, located in Anchorage for 47 years, has expanded 3 stores. The main store, the largest Skidoo sled dealer in North America, also has Can-Am, Sea-Doo, Climb, Suzuki Outboards, Honda Outboards, generators and snowboards, Kingfisher boats, and so much more. Alaska Motorsports and Equipment just next door, which was previously Anchorage Suzuki Arctic Cat, for all your Arctic Cat, Suzuki ATV, Husqvarna, Generac, Mahindra Tractor, and now Argo Pro and Sasquatch needs. And to round it out, also next door, the brand new Alaska Mining Superstore, for the largest selection of recreational and light commercial mining equipment anywhere, period.
The Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. BHA is the voice of our Alaska public lands, waters, and wildlife. From national level policy work to engagement with boots on the ground projects from Kotzebue to Ketchikan. BHA performs public land cleanups, hunting and fishing clinics, and community education to help take your game to the next level. BHA's community-minded goal is to uphold our hunting and fishing legacy while keeping wildlands wild and fostering the next generation of sportsmen and women for years to come. Make sure to follow BHA Alaska for upcoming events, local brewery pint nights, and more. Stand up for Alaska public lands and waters by supporting the Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. Join us today at backcountryhunters.org.
The Treehouse AK, your one-stop dispensary located at 341 Boniface Parkway. When you pull up to the Treehouse, you'll notice the beautifully hand-drawn art by Alaska's own Ted Kim. Once you get inside, you're going to see many of the same people that have been there since they opened. The bud tenders know you and what you like and what new product you should be checking out. The store is super clean and the music's always on point. The Treehouse and local owner Josh Boots is a staple in the cannabis culture through his music, community givebacks, and a lifetime desire to bring the people of Alaska the best products available. The Treehouse always has at least 25 strains available, and they're all shown prominently deli style in clear, openable jars so you can see and smell your options. Other products include edibles, concentrates, vape carts, pre-rolls, flour, dab rigs, and anything else you need, they got it. They also have some pretty sick merchandise for sale. Check out thetreehouseak.com, or better yet, stop by the Treehouse today and get started on their loyalty program. Remember, you must be 21 years of age to enter their store. The Treehouse, where the culture lives.
And would that be maybe stuff that's maybe more applicable,
It is.
you know, to like a real situation?
Everything that I taught them to the young SEALs was very applicable to anyone. I mean,
okay.
Like all of it is
Like situational awareness and like any.
Yeah, situational
Space.
awareness. So there are some main topics that we kind of both in the military and with Kodiak Survival that we kind of go down. And there's some things that we really focus in on. But they translate perfectly to civilian applications and hunting and backcountry people of all kinds. If you're a skier, then it translates. And anybody that's going into the bush for any reason. So and a lot of it is, it's all unclassed, it's open information. Anybody can find it. It's just the military has done a really good job of packaging it in a way that it's palatable in small doses.
And digest it and apply it. And
right, especially for your basic level. Which there's a lot of arrogance. I mean, you can imagine young SEALs, right? They're like, oh, I got this. Just about everything.
Big cojones.
Type. They're like,
I seen it firsthand once.
As my dad would say, your shit either goes gong gong or tink tink. You know what I mean? It's like, but okay, got it, Dad. Got it.
They're like, oh, this is easy. Alluding to what you said earlier, I watched the video on it. I'm good. I can do this, and they can, and I know that they can, and it's standard across the board for everyone. But the reality sets in real quick when the first time we do a fire test. That's one of the things that we do is a fire test.
And if they can build a fire? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And and I used to tease them all the time. I'd be like, hey, dude, when you were sitting back at home and you were watching that commercial, and those guys were coming out of the helicopter spinning, the rotor wash,
Yeah, this is like the recruitment,
the Jacob's
stuff.
Ladder is coming out of the hellhole, and those dudes are coming down, or they're popping up from under the water with a dragger on, with a rifle. Did it ever occur to you for 10 seconds, not even, that dude can't make a fire? I mean, you got to be able to make a fire, right?
Yeah, totally.
How are you going to do that? We're going to test you. That's what we're going to do. And so here's your parameters. Can you procure 16 ounces of water and build a fire in Kodiak, which is rainforest.
And everything's wet.
With all natural materials, with nothing but a lighter. That's it.
Oh, they even get a ladder?
And you get like they have a
That's a good start.
Like all of our students at KSS, and I derived this straight from the military's application. But you have a pot, right, to be able to boil your water in. Like, can you do it?
Yeah.
You know, okay, cool. You think you can do it? Nice. First, I'm going to do it. And then I'm gonna take you through all the steps to make sure that you know how to do it, and I've demonstrated it to you. And then the next thing is I'm gonna ask you to do it, and then I'm gonna put you on a time limit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you about an hour. Think you can boil 16 ounces of water in an hour? And a lot of times what ends up happening is like everybody's like, yeah, of course I can.
An hour? Shit, I got this.
I got this.
Seems like a lot of time.
It doesn't matter who you are. Of course I got that. But when's the last time you made one? When's the last time you did it?
Yeah.
When's the last time you, and I'm not talking about barbecue grill, the lighter fluid and, chuck
Yeah.
and match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When's the last time you
Jug of
actually
Boy Scout juice,
went out, like you've been carrying a flint and steel for how long in your kit? When's the last time you tried it?
Yeah.
Have you? Because if you haven't tried it, brother, you need to get on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, go light some cotton balls.
You need to practice.
It's just that simple.
Yep.
And then, or you give one to, especially a younger person. So there's a lot of people, a lot of young people that do not have the finger dexterity or the strength in their hands to be able to strike a metal match. So they're going to have to learn a different technique. But anyway, like you've got an hour, go build a fire from using all natural materials. You don't get to get paper and cardboard and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Just do
round
that.
it up.
You'd be surprised at how many guys will fail that.
Really?
It happens all the time. Civilian, military, doesn't matter. And really what it is it's not practicing.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of arrogance on our part because we think, our life is generally easy. I mean, most of the time we don't have build fires anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, we don't, most people don't heat their houses with fires anymore. They just walk over, they push a button. Oh, it's kind of chilly in here. Let me move that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's a skill like anything else. It's just like shooting your bow or shooting your rifle or any number of things that you want to get good at. Like, but it's so perishable and it's also so important because if you're a backcountry traveler, right, for any reason under the planet, and now all of a sudden it's not the situation. Like, yeah, you got that lighter in your pocket, but maybe you fell off the boat. Maybe your boat sank. Maybe the plane didn't come. You fell down a hill. You got separated from your pack, and now you've got the lighter. Like now, it's the same thing that we were talking about earlier, where you're talking about your shooting under stress. Can you build a fire under stress? When you're cold and you have to, and you're like the first, your body goes through shell core. So you start, as soon as you start to become hypothermic, it starts to draw the blood in to work your internal organs.
Right.
Right. It keeps the important stuff. It's triage. So you don't have the finger dexterity anymore to be able to turn that light.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then if you're on matches, okay, how many matches do you want to use?
Yeah.
How many? You don't have an unlimited supply of
That's
matches.
right.
And they don't
this
work,
may
they
not
don't work
be
that
your
great.
last fire.
You got to be quick.
Matches don't work that great.
They do if you have done the right steps in advance.
Yes.
And I tell my students all the time, I'm like, you're not friction fire. Okay. So a lot of people, bow and drill, friction fire. A lot of people
Saw
are
that in
like,
person, and that's very hard, by the way.
it's not easy, but
Very fucking
again,
hard.
it takes practice.
Yes.
Friction fire is one of those things where that's not my ultimate goal. When I go in the field, I'm not like, oh, I'm a badass survival dude. I'm going to go build a friction fire. No,
Spend all day.
not
It
at all.
sucks.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a lighter.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a metal match in my pocket. That's what I'm going to do. That's my go-to. Where that really comes in is longer term. I know that my lighter, I'm going to lose it. It's going to break. It's
Run out of fluid.
It's going to run out of fluid.
Yeah.
Same thing with the matches. I've got 24 matches in that book. So when those matches are gone, what is my next plan?
Right.
because I don't know when the next thing is going to come around. I can't wait for a lightning strike in Alaska. That's not going to work for me. So I have to plan for that. And so you're always planning for your next fire. So if I build a fire now and conditions are good, right? I've got a nice sunny day. It's been sunny in Kodiak for 5 hours. Cool. I can build a fire pretty easily.
Yeah.
But when I'm doing that, I'm also prepping for my next fire. So I'm bringing old man spirit, or, it depends on the time of the year and what the material is that I'm going to use to light the next one. But I'm prepping for that. I'm drying that out. You can practice like friction fire with, just regular old, you go to Home Depot or Spinards or wherever you got and get your regular cedar boards. That's a beautiful material to start practicing friction fire with. Does that exist in Kodiak? Well, no, we don't have
the perfect wood material.
Well, we do have, if you know where to look and you're practiced at it, we do have cedar driftwood. And it comes up on the beaches on our regular, it's regular. I mean, I dodge them in the boat all of the time. So once you get there, like that fire that you made the first time, okay, cool. Let's go strip some of the cedar off of the driftwood that was high tide on the beach. Let's bring that up. Let's dry that next to the fire. So I'm prepping for the next thing. I'm looking ahead. I started to say it and then I didn't go through it, but firecraft, that's a major skill set. Sheltercraft, that's a major skill set. Survival medicine, which is not the same as wilderness medicine. It's not the same as any other type of survival medicine. Is it's kind of its own thing, right? So fire, shelter, water procurement and purification, and then food and food prep. And under food and food prep is like, what can we eat and what is poisonous and what is edible as far as plant life. Right. Right. Like what can we do? And then under that also is tide pooling. So and then the major one of the most important ones that you can do, period, is signaling.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, totally.
I mean, signaling is because there's a whole industry built around the survival and, there's a lot of garbage out there. Oh, yeah. There is a ton.
Sure.
Lots of shows.
It's $1 billion industry.
Doomsday prepper and shit and the whole thing.
But the idea is not actually to be in a situation where you are surviving for a long period of time. That's not fun.
Right.
Something catastrophic or bad had happened before you got into that situation. So having all those skill sets and practicing the skill sets, those are fun. But one of the things that gets left off is signaling. And guess what? Like, if you get an effective signal out in the beginning, game over. You won.
Yeah.
You survived.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Or somebody that wouldn't be alive otherwise has survived because you have put a signal out.
Right.
There were guys, fishermen, it was just on the news the other day. What they did was they put the word help. They were saved by Navy pilots. They put the word help in palm fronds in big, large letters on a beach. And a Navy pilot just happened to be flying by, notices that that's help.
Wow.
Now, high contrast colors, right? The human eye can distinguish something as high contrast colors as small as 1 inch at 100 yards, like your standard pasty that you shoot on the rifle range, high contrast color.
Oh, right.
But the signaling is crucially important, and you need to understand the background that you're putting it against, right? So like if I put dark, like spruce boughs on a black sand beach, that's not going to work. You're not going to draw anybody's attention.
Just camouflaged.
Right? You can spell out anything you wanted to. It wouldn't work. What you need is the high contrast to be able to do it.
Right.
And signal fire, same way. It's like there's a proper way to make signal fire. There is. And
can you break that down? Maybe after your point, can you break that down, like how you actually properly do a signal fire? I've always been fascinated by that.
Sure. So you're around Alaska anytime, and you see a column of smoke. one column of smoke. What does that mean?
Could mean anything.
Yeah, you just
It just means that people are there. That's
Yeah.
all that means.
Yeah.
yeah,
It doesn't tell me anything.
right.
You're a bit with signaling. The biggest thing that you need to communicate to your rescuer is the fact that you need help.
Yeah. Not that
Right.
you're just camping there.
Versus random camping.
Right. So,
Yeah.
but if I put 3 fires spaced evenly, and now all of a sudden they're like, now I've got 3 fires in triplicate, that draws attention. That's not
Like
the same.
three
Yeah,
tight,
that's not
three
normal.
tight smokestacks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, that's
It's like,
unusual.
what's up with this?
Right?
Okay.
Different colored smoke. Right? And there's different things that we can
like
do to
what?
color smoke. Not all of them are environmentally friendly.
Right.
But if we're in a life and death situation, then we need to be able to think through those problems. Say, oh, this white smoke is, or we have white smoke on a white snowy background. That's not going to work.
Right.
There's a tire over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
yeah.
Like
Black smoke.
Burn that
now we
black,
need black
yeah.
smoke. It's a high contrast. Same thing. There was a friend of mine, one of the guides that works with us at Big Timber. There was a guy that was essentially shipwrecked, and he had orange Grundens on, and he took those Grundens and he hung them in a tree. And, my friend, as a charter boat going by, sees the orange Grundens in the tree. He's like, whoa, that's not normal.
Right.
Right? So green tree, orange Grundens, and then he looks, and there's a guy walking down the beach. He put up his Grundens as a signal.
Right.
It was an effective signal.
Right.
And really what ended up drawing his attention was not just the fact that it was orange, because you've got orange signs and no trespassing, all those things.
Or a
It's
buoy
the-
randomly on the beach floated up or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the movement. It's the movement. So if I demonstrate if I show you something orange and it's static, right? Like buoys that are washed up on the beach, they don't move. But now if I take that same orange thing and I start opening and closing and moving it around, now it's a dynamic signal that is going to that is sending me some more of a message that I might further investigate.
Yeah.
Same thing with like a light. A light doesn't work. Like you just shine a light, that's not going to work. It needs to relay the message that
Like
Right.
flash or show some sort of inconsistency to go, whoa.
yeah, it
Catch your
has
attention.
to capture your attention.
Yeah. What is the
know.
SOS for
Three
lights?
3 long, 3 short, 3 long.
For it is for the light?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. 3 long,
So
3 short, 3 long.
Blink,
All right.
blink, pause, blink, blink. And slow. Okay.
Right.
Okay, cool.
That's
Good
awesome.
question, man. I never knew that,
Yeah,
actually.
I didn't know that one.
Yeah, it's
I
Morse
should
code
know that
for
one. Oh, is that
for
the Morse code?
SOS,
Okay.
yeah.
All
Okay,
right.
and all today's LED flashlights and headlights are fucking bright now.
Yeah.
You're talking about a guy flying over. You're on an island or a beach or something. You can
Right.
see that
Oh,
from
man.
quite a ways,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
One of the best ways to signal an aircraft, especially in the daytime, is with a signal mirror.
Yeah.
Right? Like it is annoying. Like if you've ever been on the receiving end of that, it is. You're like, oh God, please, would you stop?
Oh, really?
Yes,
It's that evident, huh?
And from the pilots, they're like they can see that quite well.
Okay.
The big thing though is like not everybody has a signal mirror in their kit or in their pocket.
Right.
Right. So you have to think outside of the box. People have used shined up beer cans.
Yeah. Okay.
They've used like your compass. So that's generally what I carry as a signal mirror, because I want a compass with me in the field.
Right.
So, inside of a good compass will have a mirror in the top. And so you can use that as a signal mirror.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to do it, you have to have them, you can even do it with a flashlight. So you're talking about like what about it's a cloudy day? Okay. You can put a flashlight in it and then direct the signal mirror to be able to get their attention.
Right.
And one of the
Reflection.
the easiest way to do that is basically you make an L with your hand, right? And so you find you find the reflection on the ground first, and then walk it to your hand. And as you walk it to your hand, then you track with the aircraft and keep them. So you put it on your hand, on the aircraft, on your hand, on the aircraft, on your hand, on the aircraft.
So it's blocking it and then lighting. So it's
Right.
creating
It's
the
that
flash.
dynamic signal.
It is, but it's helping you know what you're signaling,
Yes.
actually.
Okay.
So, like, watch face has the ability to do it, although it's not as bright. I mean, it's just working through those problems. So with my students, what I do is I'll have you flash each other.
Okay.
Like, you flash me. Okay, yeah, I got it. Stop. My turn for you. And then even put it in a creative situation, because not everything is going to be lined up perfectly.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I'm not always going to be across from you with the sun right there. So maybe you're on this side and I need to flash you. So I need to lay on my back and then get it to go over.
Right,
There are lots of things that if you don't think through and you don't, at least practice every once in a while.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily know. And it's not, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Sure.
But, when you're going to do these things, it's important to reach out and try and find some of that information.
Yeah.
You can't be held accountable for what you don't know,
Yeah, true. But if you're
but they're-
gonna, I feel like if you're gonna get out there and play around, you almost owe it to yourself and others, especially your family at home, want you to come home to train and know these things.
Yeah. And I feel like, especially if you're going to be taking people into the field, man, and they are looking at you like, hey, bro, you brought us here. You should know this.
Yeah.
You're my lifeline.
Yeah.
You're my lifeline. I don't know this, but I'm trusting that you do.
Yes.
You want to go with somebody that's competent, and somebody that actually works through the stuff.
Yeah.
Can save your life, man.
Level-headed.
It can,
Yeah.
hiring the right guide, the right person who is well prepared
Right.
is very important.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that just about myself. I'm saying that for everyone.
Oh, sure.
You really need to think about who it is, because Alaska's wild.
I feel like signaling has really been left in the dust with the GPS, especially with the SOS. Like, there's so many people that are just like, hey, we got the SOS button if we need any help. And then, you can have other things happen. Like a few years ago, right in the middle of hunting season, AT&T had the issue with Garmin, and so none of the messages were going through to AT&T. And it's like, you should know the basics. Like, you don't have the inReach; it's out of batteries.
That's right.
How to use a compass.
Yep.
Think of
You
this.
rely on that GPS thing. Like, okay, I got my tent. I tracked myself. Where am I going?
Yeah.
And you're just like it's a crutch
I didn't bring my map because it was on my phone, which got swamped.
or died.
And so it's,
or it died. I don't have a way to charge it.
Yeah.
More than one time on the top of the mountain, I have had my GPS out and been like, okay, I know we camped here somewhere, and it is fogged out, man. You can't see. I can't see 5 feet, not even. And and then so I'm like, okay, well, anytime now. I know there's a cliff here.
yeah.
Where is
sketchy.
it?
Yeah.
I think you guys want to. I don't know if I want to tell this story.
Oh yeah, let's hear a story. Let's
We
go.
want all those.
Now you're red in the face. Got us excited. You better tell the story.
I love Casey's stories.
So I was way back when. I used to hunt. I was well known for hunting in places that nobody else would go, like whitetail hunting, that sort of thing. And
where was this?
that was in Virginia, Southeast Virginia.
Yeah.
And they just wouldn't. They were like, we're not walking in there. It's too far. It's like it's swampy in there. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And then I would go in, and then I would come out with something.
Yeah, the monster bucks.
Yeah, the big bucks, the nice ones. So my father and I hunted together a lot in this. I had missed the day before, and I was like, "Oh man, I can't believe I missed." Like, I know there's a monster buck in there somewhere, man. Like, I got to go look. I got to go hunt. And so I wake up the next morning, I'm there early, you know, and I'm sitting in the truck, and I didn't want to go. It's like 37 degrees and raining and pissing sideways. And I'm like, man, I don't want to go.
The truck's so comfy.
Yeah. And I'm like, I could just go back to bed. This is not important as the deer.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you better man up, son. You better get after it. So I did. I got my stuff, and I put my things on, and I start going in, and I'm a couple miles deep, you know, and it ends up being this finger of land that is way out in the middle of the river, and it's surrounded by marsh, which is perfect for hunting because I've got room to breathe, baby. I can, you know, I can see it's. I'm rifle hunting at the time. I can see it's high marsh. The deer don't care about it. They can come skipping right across the top, and no human can follow them. No dog can follow them. It's perfect, right? This is where Big Boy lives.
Yeah, yeah.
So I go walking way out there, and I'm sitting there, and I watch deer come out, and they would get halfway and then turn back, and I'm like, what the hell? Why? And then they would again. So another group comes in. And they turn back and go. And I'm like, man. And, I'm getting cold, and I've been there all day. And I'm like, man, okay, this is not happening today. So I start to come down. I was tree stand hunting. I come down, and I kept smelling myself. I'm like, man, you got to stink, dude.
Yeah.
You got to stink. So I go to start leaving, and I look, and I see something blue, which is not normal, right? There's nothing blue where I'm at. It's all brown. It's like, big, deep forest and marsh. That's it. Everything's brown. It's wintertime. It's dead. And so I see it blue, and then it moves, and then I'm like, what the hell? And I get a little closer, and I see that it's got hair. It's got blonde hair. And I'm like, whoa, who is this, a lady? And then I see, like, this person is, like, rocking back and forth. And I'm like, oh, this is not good. I'm like, why would you be way out here, first of all?
Yeah.
Like I don't understand this. And then I'm thinking, and this is, 12 years ago more. But well, more than that. At any rate, so I realized that it is a lady. And she is rocking back and forth, and she's in between two logs that have fallen over, and she puts her hands up, and I thought she might be, ready to commit suicide or something, because, like, what? There's no earthly reason for anybody to be at this spot.
Yeah, what an unusual situation.
And I'm thinking, oh man. So I approach her very tactically, very quietly, and I get right behind her, and I lean over. I could see that she's not armed, and I lean in and I said, ma'am, are you okay? And she looks at me with eyes as wide as saucers. She turns around. She goes, no, I am not okay. And I'm like, she's like, where am I? And I'm like, me being me, I'm like, you're really not close to anything. Yeah. She's like losing it. And
you're probably a sight for sore eyes, though.
Yeah,
if she's in distress, right?
I said she was praying. Is what she was doing. She was praying. And so I helped her stand up. And when I did, she's like, well, I'm talking to her, and I'm like, hey, man, how long, what are you doing here, first of all? And she's like, not making any sense at all. She's just like talking not well. And she's like my car is here, and it's in this direction, and I lost my car, and, and then I'm like, okay, well, your car, I get it, but your car's not here. So she's like, I cut through the woods. Okay. You cut through the woods, and I'm like, well, how long have you been here? And as I'm looking at this person, I'm seeing she's wearing a blue, like, softball windbreaker jacket. Yeah. Like a Mickey Mouse t-shirt and pajama pants. Oh. No shoes. What the hell? And she is covered up to middle of her chest in mud. Yeah. Like just straight mud. No shoes, no nothing. And she's not even shivering. Like, I'm cold and she's not shivering. And I'm like, whoa. Like, you're not right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, ma'am, where are your shoes? Let's start with that. Where are your shoes? And she points a skinny little finger out into the marsh, and she goes, out there. And I'm like, okay. So I'm starting to put two and two together. You know, marsh mud will like suck the shoes.
Yeah.
And she's like, out there. And I'm like, she's like, well, I called my daughter at 9. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm thinking, that's not that long ago. And I'm like, where's your phone? Let's try and get your daughter again. She's like, out again, right out in the marsh. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll try and start getting you out of here. And I was like, ma'am, you called your daughter at 9? She's probably looking for you. She goes, 9 last night. Oh. She had been out there the whole night.
Man.
Like stumbling around in the, and so she had a purse.
She's just a mess.
Yes, she had a purse, and that was it. And so she has a purse, and I start to walk her out.
And she's barefoot?
Yeah. Oh. And like she makes it like 10 steps, very, very slowly, and starts to buckle. And I'm like, okay.
Dehydrated. I mean,
she's hypothermic is what she is. She's and dehydrated. The whole works. So she starts to buckle, and I'm like, okay, well, clearly I'm gonna have to carry you out. There's no other way. And so I've got accoutrements. You know, I'm hunting. I've got a gun. I've got other stuff. You know, and I'm like, I can't carry you and this stuff at the same time. So I lay it all down along with her purse, and I pick her up and I put her on my back, and I start to bring her out, you know, like fireman's carry on the way out. Yeah. And that's what she asked me. She goes, and I couldn't resist. She says, she goes, "You so strong." And I said, "Thank you." She goes, "Are you a fireman?" And I said in my best voice, I was like, "No, ma'am. I'm a Navy SEAL, and I'm here to help."
I am your savior.
That's right. That's right.
And so I start to take her out, and I feel my phone buzz in my pocket, and I had gotten a single bar. There's no service where this was, none. And then somehow, by some miracle, I got a bar service. So I called my dad, who was a state game warden at the time, kind of a brown shirt trooper. Basically the same thing. Called him and said, "Hey, man, are you in your work vehicle?" Because again, I don't know what her situation is. I don't want to tell her I'm narking on her or something. You know, I don't know if she's in trouble or what. So I'm like, "Hey, are you in your work car?" And he's cued in. He's like, "Yeah, why?" And he's like, "I'm like, do you know where to meet me? I'm in the woods and I'm hunting Joe Point. Can you come down here, and I need you to bring an ambulance? I've got somebody with me." And he instantly goes, "Yep, it's on the way. No problem." And so I start running her out, and I run her all the way out. And by the time I get there, the ambulance is there, and he's there, and there's another deputy there. And they took her in and warm packed her in the ambulance, but then she's going to the hospital, right? So she's like, my purse. Yeah. You know, and I'm pretty tired by the time I got her there, and the ambulance, the rescue people come over, and they're like, "Hey, she's really worried about her purse. Is there any way you can
go get
that real quick?" And I'm like, yeah.
Well, all your stuff's back there too, though.
Did you have a rifle and all that still back there?
It was all back there. I had to go back anyway. But I just didn't plan on going right this second. I'd like to get a drink of water.
Yeah. Let me get a Snickers bar or something.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do this. So I turn around and I run all the way back as fast as I can go to get her purse. And when I get there, I can't help myself. I'm not a snoop, man, you know, but I don't know what I'm delivering to the police and
curiosity got the best of you.
Yeah, you know, I don't look in ladies' purses. That's not a thing that I do. But in this particular case, I needed to. Yeah. You know, so I
feel like those rules maybe go out the window considering the circumstances here.
Right.
You know?
So
it's kind of a weird deal.
It could be a loaded weapon, man. You just
sure. No, you never know.
So I looked in her purse, and in her purse is multiple lighters, is multiple things, signaling device, things that could be used as a signaling device. Like, she had so many of the tools in her
resources,
purse to be able to affect her own survival and be able to be in like not nearly as bad of a condition. But she had no idea. It wasn't her fault.
Yeah.
She didn't know. And as it turns out, she had been in a driving rainstorm. She had slid off the side of the road. She cut through the woods in a direction that she thought was in the direction of her house. I do not know whether she was intoxicated or not.
Right.
She clearly was not by the time I dealt with her, but then she had been out there for some period of time.
Yeah.
So
she was not mentally stable either. I mean, she's praying and just basically gave up on life.
Well, she's praying for a miracle at that point.
That's what I mean.
Her
Yeah, like
options
she's just
are gone. So I can't tell. But she had wrecked her car. She cut through the woods, and she had made a series of errors.
Yep.
And she just kept talking herself, oh, it's just right there. It's right there. If I just keep going, then I will eventually get back to safety. And that's not the case. Like, that's one of the more common things that people do in those situations.
She made it worse.
Exactly. It just spiraled.
Yeah.
So, you know, I am glad that I got my mess together that morning and I went.
Yeah.
Because if I hadn't, it would have been a body. It wouldn't have been like being able to pull her out. You know, like by just, you know, listening to that voice in my head, listening to like, no, son, you need to go.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it turned out for her very well. They took her to the hospital. They warm packed her. They did actually get a hold of the Navy. I was still active duty at the time, and the Navy actually gave me an award for for doing that.
But, rescuing her. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, that stuck with me really hard. Like her just not having the tools to know the knowledge to know how to save herself.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and just it being there.
Just starting a fire would have been
key,
huge.
Yeah.
You know,
you would have saw a fire right away from your tree stand.
Right.
You know,
instantly.
like,
I'd have smelled it when I got into the woods before I even went to hunt. I mean, it would have been over way sooner.
Yeah.
First of all, she would have been warmer, and then I would have noticed, because that's not normal.
Right.
You know, I mean.
Well, and I think not only that, if you had the opportunity to get warm and reset your mind of like, I'm warm, or at least I've got a fire going. I feel like there's a chance. Now I can actually recalibrate and try to figure out how to get myself out of this. And you're versus just panic mode. And she's just.
You're 100% on it. Some people there's an acronym for it, and some of them use the survival ABCs, and some people use survival STOP. And they both derive basically the same thing. The ABCs are like, assess the situation, brew a cup of tea, C, consider your options, and then decide on a course of action, and then execute the plan. That's what it is. I'm sorry, I had to think through that for a second.
Yeah. Oh, that was great.
But then by brewing a cup of tea, you're actually accomplishing some of your survival priorities. Right. So it forces you're like, okay, assess the situation. Okay, I'm screwed. Brew a cup of tea. Okay.
Calm down now.
What do I need in order to get a cup of tea brewed?
Right.
Fire, water, some freaking tea.
Yep.
A vessel to hold it in.
Yep.
And now I have the time. I've accomplished some of my survival priorities, and I have the time to think through the rest of the situation. Then we execute it. And then it may take more than one cup of tea before we survive the entire incident.
Right.
You know, we may have to do this process several times, because things are not going to go the way you plan.
Sure.
They never do.
Right.
Yeah. You got to pivot. You got to change direction. You got weather coming in, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You get cliffed out. You know, bears in your way. The rain comes in. There's so many things.
Can we talk about shelters?
Sure.
I pulled up one of your pictures there.
Oh, yeah.
Way cool.
Yeah.
Because if you can't start the fire.
Then, well, you know, shelter is one of those things. The best shelter starts on so many different layers, and I don't know how deep you want me to dive here, but it's like your clothing system is crucially important. Like that's your first line of shelter right there, and care of that clothing system is important. So, first we need to make sure that we're addressing the things that are happening with our clothing system, and that we are dressed for the activity that we're going to do. Right. So we need to make sure that stays clean and warm and dries, but to the best of our ability. Once knowing that is going to degrade over time. And then we start to go into the next layers of shelter. Okay. Do we need an immediate shelter or do we need a long-term shelter? The picture that you have up, that's an A-frame. That's more of a long-term shelter. If we can get like we know that we're 24 hours from the truck, or we're 24 hours from the pickup point, wherever the boat, whatever that ends up being, we may not have to expend the calories it takes to build a long-term primitive shelter. We may be able to get by with the tarp that we had in our bag, and that's more of an immediate shelter. So let's use that resource first. We had a space blanket that we could, that was in our kit, in our backpack, that we could kind of huddle in, or, so you kind of have to do it in layers. And then once you've decided, okay, now I need to have a longer term solution to this. I need to construct a shelter. I'm going to spend the energy and the calories that it takes to be able to do this. Well, now we need to think about some things before we start construction. First of all, are we in a location that we can signal from? Is it near a signaling site? Because remember, that's our goal, is to get rescued. We want to get recovered and return to safety. So is it near, or do I have effective signals out? Even if I can't physically be near it, can I put something in a location that I can access, that I can maintain from my shelter location? Are we going to build our shelter in an area with enough material? Like, we need enough, and how much effort do we have to put in to gaining that material in order to construct it?
Right.
And then, are we in a divot? Are we to where it's going to be a mud hole?
Right.
Is it going to fill with water?
Is it going to fill with water? Are we in the alpine? Are we too high? And any storm, it will, is it going to
destroy it?
Is it going to destroy it or us or whatever? And we may not have a choice. We may have to be like, okay, well, alpine's good enough for now until we can brew a cup of tea and then decide on a better location. Do we have access to water? Are there game trails? Is there a active bear trail, springtime, like salmon stream?
Right.
Like, are we in a bad location? We assess those threats. And then when you start construction, you kind of need to look at it like you would if you were building a house. Like, what are the needs that we're trying to satisfy with this? Like, we're building a shelter for, is it for shade? Is it, because the environment doesn't just, these skills don't just apply to Alaska. It's global skills, right? To go anywhere. Is it for shade? Are we in the desert? No. Or are we in, coastal Alaska where like warmth is our thing? And we're going to come up with a different form of shelter to satisfy those different requirements. Are we in the alpine and, there are snowdrifts capable of doing a tree pit or a coffin or a snow cave, from all of those different layers all the way down to the beach, and then, beach shelters being in there. The one that you guys have up here, that's basically your standard A-frame. And the best A-frames, the best shelters are generally the ones that you don't have to put that much effort into, or you don't have to build, right?
It's like a natural formation in a stump or a cave or
So
trees where you can build around easily.
Yeah. So, for example, like a lot of people who are not well versed in the woods, their first inclination, especially if you give them a knife, is to chop and to burn energy that way.
Yeah, dull their knife.
Don't do that. Don't waste your energy that way if you can help it, right? There are times where you need to do that and times where you don't, and it's recognizing those. But if I can use something that will be sturdy, that is already broken, then I don't need to spend time cutting through this gigantic log over here. I can use the things that are already available to me that require less effort. Because like calories is another thing that you have to think about it. Like, have you guys seen the show Alone?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I think a lot of people have.
Have you tried out for Alone?
Actually, I submitted a couple of applications for it, and I thought I was like, I'll get picked up, but no calls.
Not yet.
No calls.
Yeah.
But they basically, a lot of that goes into calories. So when you start into
biggest guy wins. A lot of times that seems to be a strategy.
Well, I don't
fatten up.
I mean, if you've watched the show from the beginning, and then now people are like, "Well, I gained 50 pounds before coming on the show for that exact reason."
Full disclosure, I have not seen all of them. I saw season 6. I thought that was really good.
I haven't seen them all either, but
No.
the one where the guy from Montana won or something, he was like a hunting guy.
Is he the guy that they finally had to be like, "Hey man, everybody's out.
He's like, "No,
you gotta go." He's like, "No, I'm
buying this property."
homestead." Something like my brother telling me about it. Like they came to the guy and he's like, "Oh, it's over." Like, yeah, man, you really did it right.
Well, those calories are important, and they you're probably not, depending on your situation, but in most cases, you are not going to be. You're not going to improve over time. What you have on board in the beginning is likely the best shape that you're going to be in.
Right.
Your tank's at its fullest there.
Right. So you may be starting with an injury. You may be starting with something else that is going to become a more significant problem as time goes on. So you pick the things that make sense to you at the time, and choose what it's economy of motion. It's the same thing in tactical pistol shooting, economy of motion, right? So you want to use your calories on the things that are going to be the most benefit for you at the time and provide you the most long-term benefit. So when you get ready to build a shelter, it needs to be small. It needs to be just big enough for your party. It needs to be easily constructed, but sturdy enough that it's not going to kill you in the middle of the night, or a tree branch. It's not going to break and come down on it or collapse because you're under snow, whatever the case is. And you've got air holes.
Yeah.
All of those things are important, and they take practice, and they take time. It's one. I think that the shelter craft, along with the fire that you have made, and then. Is second only to being able to harvest, some sort of sustenance game, whether it's plants, tide pools, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Like those 3 things are ultimately incredibly satisfactory to your psyche.
Yeah.
Like
I can provide.
I never want to see this thing torn down. Like if you're doing it for practice. And you
Yeah.
build one, and you're like, man, I'm just getting it dialed in. After a few days, like I don't want to destroy this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that a lot with students that come out. They're like, man,
A lot of pride.
I don't, what do you mean we have to destroy it? Like, yeah, we practice kind of leave no trace. So it's gotta go, buddy.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's right.
This is my home away from home, bro.
But it's super satisfying. And then you do that, and then you build a fire that you built from by your own hands, by your own wits, and then you're sustaining life. And I've had a couple of berries and a fish that I caught on some makeshift improvised stuff. Like I am winning. I am now king of the world.
Oh yeah,
I feel awesome.
Yeah.
Do you go and test yourself and go out there and be like, this time I'm only gonna go with a lighter, or this time I'm going with nothing but this, and you're gonna
lighter and a knife.
You know what I'm saying? Like, do you do that on your own?
I
Like, just
do.
go-
I practice a lot, and then, but what it helps when you have students there too, because it forces you to practice it as well.
Oh, right.
Gotcha.
You know, and so like
Is that bushcrafting? Is that what kind of you would call that?
I think
That's a part of
you
it.
know, people
It's
call
not
it
so much
bush-
survival, I guess. But,
Yeah, people call it bushcraft or survival. To me, I use kind of a term that I had always heard growing up, and it's woodsmanship.
Oh, okay.
You know, like, are you a woodsman?
Yeah, that covers
Yeah.
that covers it all.
And
yeah,
and to me, I mean, it harkens back to the old trappers and miners and everyone else.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys,
They were doing it.
They were, and men and women alike. It's
absolutely.
you know,
Children. I mean,
and
it goes
they
all the way
knew
around.
it inside and out. As a survival instructor, I think you find yourself being one part historian and one part self-reliance coach. Because, you know, like, you don't know what you're capable of until you do it.
Right.
That's true.
And so,
Or how you'll react in a situation, right?
right.
Yeah.
And even if it's a mock situation, it's worth doing. It's worth doing because then when you come away from it, you know, like, hey, man, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be all right. I can live with pretty little. I don't need all of this stuff that everybody tells me I need.
Right.
You know, you got 1,000 devices every day telling you something else you should have bought.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need all that. What you
yeah.
need is it can reside right inside your being, and with your own wits, with your own hand, and you know, and it just boils down to the things that you should be thankful for. It's like, like, Buds was great for that. Because
How much you can go through, right?
yeah, well, it was, and then they also it's like, okay, I'm still here. I made it through that. I survived that. That's cool.
Yeah.
That sucked. Moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next.
Learn from
Next.
Yeah.
I'll use the restroom. Let's take a quick break.
it. Let's do it.
Be right back.
Big Ray's, the Alaskan outfitter, committed to outfitting Alaskans across the state since 1947. Whether you're a recreator, parent, guide, or corporate buyer, Big Ray's has the gear you need tailored for Alaska's harsh conditions. At Big Ray's, you'll find brands like Carhartt, Grundens, Darn Tough, FXD, Okiwear, and more. Big Ray's is your one-stop shop for both outdoor gear and rugged work attire. Check out their new exclusive line of durable but affordable waders, inspired by and named after the majestic Aralik River in remote western Alaska. The Aralik wader was designed by Alaskans and proven for the diverse waters of the last frontier. Visit Big Ray's at any of their 5 locations statewide, 2 in Anchorage, 2 in Fairbanks, 1 in Kodiak, or check them out online at bigrays.com.
Tailored Restoration, helping Alaskans turn disasters into new beginnings since 1972. Their 24-hour services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, and repairs. Tailored built its reputation with years of committed and reliable service to the community with innovative restoration and home remodeling. When you have an unexpected home issue at the most improbable time, Tailored has an emergency response number with trained professionals available to help you anytime, day or night. Tailored Restoration has locations to serve you in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Give them a call at 907-344-1239 or make an appointment today at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Total Truck, Alaska's premier supplier for custom automotive accessories and overlander products. If you want to customize your vehicle, talk to the team at Total Truck, where you'll find their expertise along with top brands such as ARE, RSI Smart Caps, Goose Gear, iCamper, Frontrunner, Rigid Lights, Rhino Lining bed liners, and everything you need to outfit your truck or SUV. Want to turn your truck into a sleeping option? They have rooftop tents, custom camping equipment, electronics, and solar energy packages to keep you powered up deep in the backcountry. Stop by their store location on Dowling between the new and old Seward Highway, or check them out at TotalTruckAK.com.
There you go, Jack. Good job.
Back up and running.
5 W's.
5 W's.
I like that.
Tell me about the 5 W's again.
Yeah.
So it's who, what, when, where, and why, right? And those are critically important. Like, and it's something that you can do. Like, you can whip out your cell phone, and before you leave, while you still got service, and I'm like, hey, Jack, 5Ws, boom. And you're like, oh, why does he text me? Oh, 5W, okay, cool. And you can forget about it.
Yeah.
Right? But at least you had the information on what generally was going to transpire.
Right.
Right? So who, it was, me and whoever.
Yeah.
The composition of your group, what you were doing, when you left, and when you plan to return. Who, what, when, where I was going.
Yep.
And, give a rough route if you can.
Yeah.
And then why, like, why did,
We're looking for sheep or whatever.
yeah, we're looking for
hunting.
sheep.
I'm going skiing. I'm going to the lodge.
I'm
You know,
going
why
on-
I'm doing this.
I'm going on a boat, like I'm transporting fuel. I'm, whatever.
Going
Whatever
to the Bush Company.
Yeah. I almost feel like we got to do this for the sheep show now after the last few years.
Yeah, can we get
The show's over. And like, where is everyone, man? Like, they did send me the 5 W's, man.
thought you said F Street.
I'm in the realm, boys.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm that complete. I'm pretty complete when I leave. I send a note out to, there's 3 people that get a note when I'm going in the woods, but
Right.
I don't think it's that complete,
Yeah. I mean,
I like that. I want to practice
so
it.
if you say, for example, something did happen and you missed your timeline, and they were going to call the troopers for you,
Yeah.
and they were, then they need that basic information to be able to come for you.
Oh, for sure.
And so when, just giving that person, because the worst thing in the world would be to, like, my wife calls and she's like, he left yesterday. He was going somewhere.
In the boat. Going in the ocean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't give them very much information.
Yeah.
But if they have the 5 Ws,
Yeah.
then they at least know what the initial plan was, and then can start to figure it out from there.
Yeah.
Well, and then how many people are they looking for? And
Right. Same thing. Like, so you're calling you're on your boat, you're calling the Coast Guard. What information are they going to want to have when they come to you? Because you've had an emergency. Hey, we're sinking.
Yeah.
This is the why I'm calling you. Or is it, so that tells them also whether they need any special equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? How do they affect the best rescue for you if you don't give them the information that
Good
they
info.
need to go
All right.
off of?
You had 20 people on and they thought, they're saving one guy.
Yeah.
Sure.
An area that you said you were going to that's covered in trees is going to look a lot different than a boat rescue or a mountaintop rescue.
Right.
So just the basic information, just the facts, ma'am.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. And then whether you're reporting that you're having a problem or you're preemptively reporting,
Right.
like, just use that format. It cleans it up so much.
Right. Yeah, when I overheard you guys talking about the 5 Ws, I was thinking it was more like you're calling in your rescue. It's like, oh, I need help. This is how you're calling in, but it's setting yourself up for success before you leave.
Well, and I think it's easy to overlook that very, very simple procedure when you get excited.
Oh, totally.
Me, Daniel, Jack, we're in the truck. We're going on the sheep hunt. We're excited. We're talking and ramping it up. And then we get there and it's like, oh, get the gear on and get on the trail. And you forget to text, hey, we left the truck at 3 p.m.
Right.
It's like, God damn it. Like, that was 101, man.
Yeah.
Like, sending the signal, hey, honey, we made it. And we do it. I'm just saying it can be pretty easy. Like, I'll very briefly, our friend Emily went on a spring bear hunt, and her and her hunting partner, landed the plane, set up camp. They had spotted a bear. They got excited. They're thinking, okay, he's up in this area. They get the gear on. They're all pumped up, and they get up there, and they realize, like, you can't find the bear because everything kind of looks together. It looks the same together, and they think, okay, it's getting late. We should start making our way back to the plane, and they forgot to GPS mark the plane.
Right.
So they tracked around until 4:30 in the morning.
Right.
Trying to find the plane. Got dark. They had to gear up, snuggle up to keep warm. had to find out that they were just walking circles around the plane in the dark because they couldn't find it.
And that happens often.
But
people.
that's just that thing. Like that 5 W's sent to somebody would have been helpful. Number one, so God forbid they needed a rescue. At least somebody knew. But I mean, just even mapping or marking your spot,
Right.
Like the plane, the truck, the camp, the boat, the tent, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a 101 thing that you get all pumped up.
And being
first trip of the year,
being very intentional, with those things. It's like
it's a great word.
I got in the habit of it, especially it hammered it into me in the SEAL teams, like pre-op, okay. And I still, it's one of the things about, hunting and fishing professionally that I love. It's such an easy transition because some of those skills just, they adapt.
Yeah.
Like pre-op, I need to go through and I start at my head. I started at the did I put batteries in the IR signaling device that's on the top of my helmet? Do I have my helmet? Is my chin strap buckled? Is my headset right? Where is and then I would literally go piece by piece down my body. And to the point where it got to be such a habit, now I do the same thing when I'm going into the field. Like, okay, hat, good hat, cool. Is it going to be cold? Do I need, whatever. And you start at the top.
Ball cap, a beanie, and then.
Right. And so, and then you just stop and work your way through those things at various stages. So like, okay, well, that was, they're basically 5 phases to any operation, insert, infill, actions on, exfil, extract. And so like as you're moving through your hunt, you can apply those same things. It's like, okay, we have completed this portion, our insert portion we got on the boat. We are now to the field. Now we're going to leave the boat and go up that mountain. Okay, that's our infill. Now we're going to goat hunt for 3 days. That's our actions. And then we have to make it back down. And then we have to make it back to the boat and then back to town. So if you're very intentional with the gear and thinking through the process for each step of the things that you need to do, then it becomes easier and you're ultimately prepared. And you kind of just go through, okay, and I do it physically. I'll touch my hat. I'll touch my, all of them, whether I'm wearing a chest rig or whatever, a knife, wallet, okay. In reach is here. Okay, boots tied. I was like, I've got socks. Okay, next layer of gear. Oh, that's a great point. Survival kits.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Survival kits. 9 times out of 10, this is what I see people do with the survival kit, right? They get all fired up about it at first, and then they build this whiz-bang kit.
Yeah.
And they've got everything.
Yeah.
In there, and it's perfect.
Google said all this shit right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And okay, so cool.
Casey's list, got it.
Zipped it up, thunk, right in the bottom of my bag, or right in the brain of my bag. Cool. Okay, good. You built yourself a survival kit. That's awesome. What happens if you lose the bag?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You gotta have a survival kit in your pocket. Right?
Yeah, so
Separate one.
Your survival kit should not look like I just built this fancy. That's a great kit. That's a more robust kit. That's one that you need to keep in your bag, and you need to have items not only that are basic living items, but what they are is tailored to your environment. That survival kit, like if I'm going to go
could change,
right? If I'm going to the desert. What is my survival? What is my survival? Most likely survival priority going to be? Yeah. It's water and shade, like right there. But if I'm
fire
going
at night when it's cold,
yeah. But like if I'm going to Alaska, and I'm headed to the bush, that looks completely different.
Yeah.
Right? Like warmth is a thing. Water is everywhere, and it's drinkable.
Right.
So like it's going to be a little bit lower on the list. Yeah. But build and tailor the kit, and don't just have that kit. Take items purposefully, intentionally, and put them throughout your kit that you're not going to lose, right? So always in my pocket, I have
I was going to be my question. Yeah. What's,
You know,
for Alaskans, what do you need to be on your persons?
A fixed blade knife, if you can stand to wear it without it rubbing on you, fixed blade knife is a really good one.
Better than a foldable?
You know, everybody
for
has
chopping reasons, or
yeah, because you can beat on the spine of a sturdy fixed blade.
okay, like for kindling and
exactly, and you can actually cut through some quite big stuff if you learn how to do it.
Okay.
So you know, a fixed blade knife is a real good one. I carry a fixed blade and a folder on my person, and I separate them out into lines, first, second, and third line.
Okay.
So on my first line being my person, I carry a lighter, I carry a fixed blade knife. I will carry money, usually cash. Don't rob me, but I usually carry something
Hard guy to
like
ride.
that. Not a lot, just enough, you know, just a little. You know, so putting something in your pocket is as simple as a trash bag can be a game changer.
And they can fold down real small, a brand new one.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Like you get a nice medium-sized contractor bag, fold that up. It's a rain jacket. It's a poncho.
Yeah.
It's a, you know, it's a shelter if you needed it.
Well,
for
even
a
that
short
little
period of
like
time.
space blanket thing.
The sole.
Yeah.
It's tiny.
Yeah.
Well, and that, you know, I don't like anything that rubs on my legs. And so I don't, like, I have used that I've bought those soles before, and there's nothing wrong with them. They're good. They're fine. But for me, I'm pretty utilitarian, and I can be a little cheap. So I lose stuff like that. I spend $40 on a space blanket, and then I lose it.
Yeah.
But I rarely run out of contractor bags.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those
You
are
got
a
in
ton in the
garage all the
garage.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And they fold up nice and small, and
they do.
Yeah.
You know, the worst thing that it doesn't rub me wrong, and I
never thought about
I
that
maybe
one.
get a little sweaty
Yeah.
in my pocket.
Yeah.
Some paracord, 550 cord paracord.
Yep.
You know, just a little bit, not a lot. I mean, you don't need 50 yards worth of stuff. You need 10.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
Yeah, you can wrap it
Can
up
I
tight
add?
and-
Can I add? Because I've been in a situation, a headlamp or some sort of light device. Because I've been in a situation where we went after this bear. It got dark on us, and that was it. Not all three of us didn't have a headlamp on, and
you
it took
guys
us
killed the bear,
forever.
right?
Killed the bear, got the bear, packing the bear out. Got dark, realized shit. Which way is the ATV? You know what I mean? Which way do we go? And it was like pitch black.
And
And not one of us
That's
had a
so
headlamp.
easy to do in Alaska because you start to where you're like, we have all this daylight. It's never going to get dark. And then the season starts to change, but you haven't mentally shifted gears.
Yep.
So you can do things like you have to be careful that it's not something that's going to choke you out, but you know, get in the habit of sliding your headlamp and leaving it around your neck. Get one that's comfortable. Petzl makes a nice little, basically a watch button size.
Yeah.
You know, it's not much bigger than a quarter. That can go in your pocket as well. And those are, you're 100% spot on. Those are just ideas, you know, a compass that is hardwired. And when I say wired, I just mean like a gutted piece of paracord to your belt that goes in your pocket that is in there all the time. There is something called a visual signal 17 panel that comes straight out of the military, but it's blaze orange. It's international orange, and it's a piece of material. And they use it, you know, it's probably as large as this table when it's like that. But I cut it down into like a 12 by 12 inch square, which is not a lot. Right?
For signal purposes?
For signal purposes, exactly. And if I'm wearing a shirt that has a upper pocket, it'll go on the top.
I was wondering, what do you put in that bucket? Now I know.
If not,
Contractor
then,
bag or that thing?
Yeah, exactly.
right? I mean, throw it in a pocket. You know, like
Something
a lot of outdoor gear has tons of pockets for you to put stuff in. Just whatever you put in your pocket, you just need think through the situation. Make sure that it's not going to be uncomfortable for you, and it's not something you're going to data dump in the field.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, this thing's bullshit.
Oh, okay.
That's
yeah,
gone.
waste of space.
It's hurting me. I don't like it. I want it gone.
Right.
If it hurts you, then you're not going to carry it. So be practical about what you're going to use, and evaluate it on a put it on a want versus need scale, right?
Okay.
And so it needs to be comfortable. It needs to be light, especially if it's on your first run. Comfortable, lightweight, and is it going to evaluate a survival need?
I didn't hear
or priority.
chocolate bar.
So, like, it's not a bad idea to put, a Werther's Original or some piece of hard candy that will not melt. Chocolate bar is not one of those, but especially because, if you're running across other people, you got people bonking or going diabetic, like there's those
sugar.
are huge.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just a mental positive boost too.
Absolutely.
If you're like, man, I got to be out here all night, hit that Werther's or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I use for that? Earl Grey.
Like the tea?
Like just bring a little pack.
Yeah. A couple of Earl Grey tea packs because it's so aromatic.
Soothing and comforting.
It doesn't need to be sweet. And then when it sucks and I made that cup of tea, then and I can smell it, and I'm like, it's not as bad as I thought.
It's an attitude adjustment.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And now I'm warm on the inside.
Yeah.
It smells good.
It's got a little caffeine in it, I think.
And if I was smart enough to put my Jolly Rancher in there.
All right. We got to hit the mayor's trivia.
Oh, yeah.
This trivia is brought to you by Mayor's Small Batch Salsa.
You good at trivia?
Not really. I don't know, maybe.
About to find out. What do you got today, Jack?
Oh, very fun one. Well, the first question is, how did the name of Kodiak come about? Like, where are the origins of the name Kodiak?
Ooh, I should know this.
It's actually like 3 steps. So if you get any of them, that's rad.
So it's just a free for all.
Yeah,
we just get to
go.
send it.
Yeah.
Well, if you know it, let us answer because we don't know.
Yeah, that's how
It's kind of funny.
How do you know I don't know?
Oh, you know.
Okay, well then you go first.
I'm gonna let you guys go, and I'm gonna spank y'all at the end.
I feel like we get a bit of a Mexican standoff.
Okay. Be more of like a Colombian white boy standoff.
Hair burrito versus Brando.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you
And
guys
I have
thinking?
no idea. I'm just gonna throw out there that it was a mistakenly found island on someone that had shipwrecked, and so it has to do with that.
All right.
Okay.
The name has to do with that.
Yes.
All right.
Man, I want to go like way back, like
Russians.
that was my first thought, but I'm more like thinking, like when the Earth shifted and Kodiak detached from the mainland.
Oh, okay.
So Kodiak is like a word for land separation from mainland or something like that.
Okay. All right.
I like it.
Okay. All right.
That's a very vague explanation, but I feel
No
like
pressure,
it's
Casey. No
I
pressure.
believe that it was a word used by the Aleut people that was misunderstood by the settlers that came in.
Okay.
And they thought they were saying a different word, and they just sort of pushed it together to be Kodiak
Oh, so the indigenous had a word that they said.
for the area.
Okay.
Do you know what that word meant? The indigenous name?
I don't. And,
Okay.
and that's about
no,
as
that
much
you're
as-
right, 100%. You nailed it. But okay, so it's Kikhatak was the original native name, and that means island.
Okay.
And then it
So
was
that might kind of sort of work with my.
Captain James Cook who misinterpreted that
Oh.
and called it, well, at first Kodiak, but then after hearing the name later, rewrote it to Kodiak. And that's how it is. So it started as Kikhatak, and that was the native.
And
I'm probably not pronouncing
Old
it
Jimmy
the
Cook threw the white man
indigenous way.
spin on it and just said,
Yeah.
let's call it Kodiak.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
James Cook always kind of finds his way into these stories somehow.
He
you
does.
know?
He does.
Yeah.
All right,
Quite
great.
the explorer.
Great.
Yeah.
Good
We
job,
need to
Casey.
find a good James Cook book to read next too. All right. So, out of the U.S. islands, we've already answered this once, but I just want to see if you guys can remember how big out of the U.S. islands is Kodiak and how many square miles, which we haven't done.
Rephrase the question.
So out of all the islands, like how big is it? Is it the first biggest, the 20th biggest?
Gotcha.
And then
Where's
how
it
many
rank?
square miles? Yeah, how's it rank? Thank you.
In all United States?
Yeah, all the United States.
Okay. I'm going to say it's fourth
Largest.
And I'm going to say it is, you're talking miles in length.
Square miles.
Square miles.
So yeah, width times length.
I'm going to say 120
120 miles.
square miles.
Okay.
120 square miles?
Brandon.
Yeah. No. I'm like, Kodiak is the largest island in the United States, coming in at 5,000 square miles.
All right.
5,000?
That's what I said. You said 120. I said 5,000.
Dude, this Air Burrito Brando show is going down today.
That's a fucking arm
All
wrestle
right,
with this
Casey,
thing
tell
over.
us what's up.
It is the second largest island in the United States and North America, as a matter of fact, followed second only to the Big Island in Hawaii.
Oh,
Yep.
damn.
Oh, you forgot about that?
Square mileage, I don't know exactly, but
You
I
have to
know
guess.
it's bigger than the state of Rhode Island.
Oh, well, let's see
That's
how
not
big
a
Give us a
bad
number,
it
give
is.
us a
Well,
number,
come
Casey.
on. We have 120 and 5,000.
Just, I don't know.
Hit the middle there.
Come on.
250.
It's huge. Lots of square miles.
Give us a number.
I don't know. What did you say? 5,000?
I said
Yeah.
5K.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, 5,000 square miles.
a
It's
lot.
probably bigger than that.
Whoa.
Actually.
I know. I wanted to say 20, but I'm like, man,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
say
go with at least 5.
just so I can be righter than him, maybe 5,500.
Oh,
All right.
Over under.
All right. Well, you nailed the second biggest, right behind the Big Island of Hawaii. But 3588.
3580. Okay.
So for square miles.
3,500?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
In
okay.
Rhode Island, I looked it up real quick, is only 1,200 square miles.
All right.
So
Don't
10
be too
times
crazy
bigger
far off.
than your guess.
Well, we do a price. I won because we do prices right. And you're over.
Oh, yeah.
that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
Barker saved you,
Yeah,
bud.
and he's extra
Nice.
over.
All right. All right.
Yeah, I was
Right.
over.
What's the second largest island in
Kodiak.
Alaska?
Oh, in Alaska?
It's
Little extra trivia bonus.
Oh, I'm going to say
Ding.
Baranoff,
Ding.
yeah,
Ding.
Baranoff,
Baranoff, which is what?
an island.
an island that Sitka's on.
Second.
How many square miles?
I think it's actually Prince of Wales.
Oh, is it?
Oh, we have to
Ooh.
Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Prince of
let's Google
Wales
that.
or Baranoff.
Be-
Just looking at that. They're
better
pretty
be-
close.
better be right.
They're pretty close. They're pretty close, actually.
Yeah, I was
You
really
look at the
surprised
map.
when it wasn't a fognac. But it's not.
Oh, it
It's-
is a fognac.
Is it?
A fognac?
Yep.
Oh,
A fognac.
Fognac's the second biggest?
Yep.
I thought Prince of Wales
Oh
was
no, that says into the Kodiak. Okay.
In the
Archipelago.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
think there's another island that's
Because
bigger
we
than
lumped
Fognac.
Kodiak in as a whole island in that
Okay.
square footage, or did we just do?
No, that's Kodiak proper. That's not Raspberry and a Fognac.
Oh, okay. So it might actually be 5,000 motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
It should be Baranoff. No, that looks way bigger. It is skinnier, though.
I think Prince of Wales is the next biggest one. Well, as far the reason why I asked my mom was trying to. She's like, "You guys should have something on Bigfoot," and I'm like, "Man,
We
Mom."
did.
No, I mean I know we had the Freaky Deaky Boys, but I meant like an actual, like a scientist.
A scientist?
Yeah, she's like, "There's this documentary on a show," and I'm like, "Is it a documentary or is it a spoofy
Yeah.
show or whatever?" And she's like, "Well, it's on the biggest island in the state in southeast." And I'm like, "No, Mom, I'm pretty sure Kodiak's the biggest one." And so anyway, that's what spurred me to look. And it is Prince of Wales, right? Second.
Yeah, it goes Hawaii, Kodiak, Puerto Rico, and then Prince of Wales.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Good.
Neat.
Yeah.
Good.
We're always learning something new.
Yes.
In Alaska Wild Podcast.
Yeah.
Or relearning something we actually already learned from a previous trivia, which tells you how bad we are when we can't even remember the trivia we already learned.
Yeah. Casey, how can people get a hold of you, sign up for a class, sign up for some training? What's the best avenue? When's the next class? When's the next thing that's coming up for you guys?
Basically, we're about to kick off our season at the moment between Kodiak Survival and Kodiak Big Timber Lodge. We will be open in force in early June, and so the best way to get a hold of us is just visit the website for either one. They're both linked. You can go to kodiaksurvival.com or bigtimberkodiak.com. And
Kodiak Survival School.
Yes, it's Kodiak Survival School.
Yeah, and then you're going to be doing the survival school. You'll be doing fishing and hunting, right?
Absolutely. We change with the seasons, and then not only that, but we do some equipment rental. And we actually have out at Big Timber on Raspberry. If you're thinking about coming down and hunting, we've got a do-it-yourself cabin as well.
Right on.
Yeah, sure do.
That's awesome.
DIY.
Yep.
Does that come with like a boat rental, or
you can pair it with a raft rental? It's actually going up for that is up for auction tonight, and I think that's going on the
at the show?
write-in auctions at
sweet.
the Wild Sheep Foundation.
that's awesome.
Nice.
There's a stay at the Two Sisters cabin that's coming up there, and then we're doing, I believe it's a 3-night, 4-day fishing adventure from Big Timber that's going up for auction as well tonight.
Awesome.
But
Very cool.
if you need a raft, or you need a tent, or you forgot something back at home and you're coming down to hunt Kodiak, basically you call us, let us know. We'll have somebody deliver it to the air service, whichever one you choose, and you just rent it and go off from there. Or if you want fully guided, we can pair you with a world-class guide, either with fishing, hunting, you name it. Like, we work with some awesome people out there. So,
Awesome.
Sweet.
yeah, hit us up on
You guys
website
have a pretty
and phone
killer
number.
Instagram page too. Is that something folks can message you guys? You guys
Absolutely.
keep track of that?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
For both the lodge and survival school, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook.
Yep.
I'm on LinkedIn as well.
TikTok?
Don't do the TikTok thing. We keep track of it, and we respond to everybody
Cool.
that
Yeah.
calls us. Like, if you just have a question, just call us, because we'd rather take 5 minutes and answer something for you than have you do something that might hurt you later.
Yeah, and that's at Kodiak Survival.
Yep.
If you're looking for that handle on Instagram, and just scrolling the page, great stuff, man.
And if you do go down there, make sure you sit by Casey at the fire late at night. Casey has some of the best stories I've ever heard in my life.
Hell yeah.
We got a little flavor of one.
Yeah.
Sure there's
Yeah,
more.
we sure did.
Yeah.
I can't wait
That
to
was a
get you
good
guys
one.
down. We'll have to spend some time on the beach at Raspberry and
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we'd
And
love
Don't
think
to.
about
ask us
things.
twice. Yeah.
Yeah, you invite us to come do something fun.
we'll solve the world's problems.
Next podcast from Raspberry Island.
Over some cold ciders and a fire. That sounds good to me.
Well, thanks
yeah.
for coming in, Casey, and chatting with us and giving us a little bit of insight on your world and what people should be doing to be prepared to come to Alaska and worldwide. We think what you're doing is highly valuable.
Thank you.
Not only to the average Alaskans. I mean, we lived here our whole life, and we still learn something today. And I'm assuming there's still a lot more to learn. Even though we've been in the woods our whole lives, you still don't know it all. You're still learning all the time, as I assume you are as well.
Absolutely. I learn as much from the students as anything, honestly.
Yeah, totally.
Yep. So thank you for providing that service and making it easy to access with you giving out your website and being able to be open just to take a phone call. So thank you for that. Appreciate that.
No worries.
And yeah, dude, thanks for your service, brother.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Most of
Well
the
done.
time, it was an honor and a privilege. But you're very welcome.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Very
man.
welcome.
Yeah, man. Thanks for everything you do, man. I said it earlier. I'm pretty inspired to, there's first aid things I want to learn. Survival stuff. I've always felt like I'm a pretty crafty guy, but after hearing what some of your stories and things you said, it's just another inspiration to me to up my game. And yeah, man, I'd love to come attend one of your survival classes, man. I'm trying
Please
to
do.
Be
carve something
super
that out
cool.
next year and
Yeah.
maybe come down and film it and the whole thing and
Yeah.
help promote it and get more people aware and educated on situational awareness and survival and you never know, man. This world's crazy and things happen, and you might have to exercise those skills. So thanks for making that available to us.
Oh, I appreciate you, fellas, very much.
Yeah. Thanks to your staff and everybody involved, too. So, we got a good thing going, and can't wait to get you back in here.
Cheers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Alaska. Visit AlaskaWildProject.com, KodiakSurvivalSchool.com. All the Instagrams, do a follow, check the YouTube. You guys also have some good videos as well, right?
Great YouTube videos.
Couple. Yeah. We're putting up more all the time.
Yep. So thank you for listening. We appreciate you, Alaska. As always,
stay wild.
You'll remember my speaking to you of what I call your overcautiousness. Are you not overcautious when you assume that you cannot do what the enemy is constantly doing?
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Barney Sports Chalet, supplying hunters with the best hand-selected gear since 1963. The exclusive home of frontier gear built for the rugged Alaskan terrain. Your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Visit Barney's today at 906 West Northern Lights.
Big Rays, the Alaskan outfitter, committed to outfitting Alaskans across the state since 1947. Whether you're a recreator, parent, guide, or corporate buyer, Big Rays has the gear you need, tailored for Alaska's harsh conditions. Check out their new exclusive line of aerolic waders. Big Rays for all your outdoor gear and rugged work attire. BigRays.com.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Total Truck and Alaska Overlander, Alaska's premier supplier for custom automotive accessories and overlanding products, providing all-inclusive rental vehicles and trailers custom outfitted to explore the Alaskan backcountry with a unique and convenient traveling experience.
The TreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives. AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska, built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation, with exclusive products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce cards, and more. Ask your local bud tender about AKO. Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and over. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Lawn Pro AK, Alaska's year-round professional property maintenance team. Services include weekly lawn care, custom landscaping, fertilizing, weed control, turf repair, and more. Schedule your free estimate at lawnproak.com.
Alaska's OG cider company, Double Shovel, crafting gluten-free colonial-style ciders founded as a healthier, non-inflammatory brew option. Drop by their Pop and Tap room in Anchorage off of 58th and Arctic or visit the second location in Kodiak. Double Shovel, award-winning ciders.
The Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, BHA, is the voice of our Alaskan public lands, waters, and wildlife. Their goal is to uphold our hunting and fishing legacy while keeping our public lands wild. Stand up today and join BHA at backcountryhunters.org.
Alaska Mining and Diving Supply, located in Anchorage, is our go-to for powder sleds and utility rigs. Whether you're in the mountains with the flat bill bros, running trap lines, or hauling freight, they have the selection to get you dialed from peaks to the valleys. Find them on Commercial Drive or akmining.com.
At least is equal in prowess and act upon the clean. I say try. If we never try, we shall never succeed. This proposition is a simple truth, and it's too important to be lost sight of for a moment. If we cannot beat the enemy where he now is, we never can. It is all easy if our troops march as well as the enemy, and it is unmanly to say they cannot do it.